Ding, ding. Who's going ding,
there
ding?
now.
Where am I hearing all these dings?
I don't know.
There's another one.
I don't hear no dings.
Oh, Steph will be home in 10 minutes. Excellent. Hi, everybody.
Nice.
Oh, are we live? Right.
We are.
Live. Oh, there's
Pay attention.
Roger. Hi, Roger.
Must be sound effects. I think I've got a volume control for that.
Get anything yet, Jeff?
Nope.
Oh, okay. Well, he did say
he said Roger, but I told him Jeff. I don't think he understands.
Roger's in the chat room.
Ah, there you go.
It's very confusing.
Hey, Roger. This is very confusing. You could do your intro from the chat. Yes. No, wait a minute. That wouldn't work.
He could type it and you could read it.
Or I could use his recording of his own voice.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that might
even
work
better.
Probably works better, you know.
It does. Oh, no. Tile missing. No. Configure Stream Deck.
What's missing?
Tile. I need to find Radio Roger 584. There we go.
You're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy Show.
No emails yet, Jeff?
No email.
Oh boy, this is frustrating. We're trying to keep it secret, but we're expecting someone to join us. And hi, Tony Smith.
Hey, Tony. How's it going? Hey, Mike Kuipers.
Roger's typing out his intro.
Hello, you're listening to the Airline Pilot. There he is. We were just kidding, Roger. You don't really have to do that.
Excellent. Well done.
Love it.
Oh, wait. Here, let me use some fancy AI, and I'll just somehow match that with your text.
You're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy Show.
Wow, yeah, that's impressive.
Wow. It doesn't even sound like him. AI does a great job of changing his voice.
Kind of incredible.
Oh, look. Okay. So, hello, Lily. Liliana de la Cruz. And I think you go by Lily. And she is here because she loves us. No. Well, that's one reason, I'm sure. But she's here because in the getting to know us. Oh, I got a message from my friends at StreamYard.
Oh, yay. Finally.
Okay. Let me get this. I'm sorry. I got to focus on one thing at a time here. There we go.
Yeah. After all, you are a man.
Yes, that's for you, Rick.
That's pretty funny.
Anyway, so getting back to what I was trying to say, Lily reached out to me right after we recorded the last show, and wants me to promote something, and so
promote me. I would like to be a general.
See what I have to deal with, Lily. That guy right there. Anyway, so I mentioned to her that we were going to record today. We'll talk about it in the Getting to Know Us segment. And I said, if you want to hang out in the chat room, you're more than welcome to. Yes. And you can answer some questions in the chat if you'd like. But it's all regarding the Latino
Pilots Association.
Here, I got to find the exact. I don't want to mess this up.
Steffi, she's looking like a pirate.
Oh, hey, Steph.
Very pink.
Oh, that's just a picture.
That's just a picture.
Okay. Let's see. Latino Pilots Association and their Aerospace Industry Expo next week. It's their first one, I believe, sponsored by United. Anyway, I'm going to talk about that in Getting to Know Us. Anyway, great to see you there in the chat, Lily. Okay.
Now, what's that guy doing with that code that you sent him? Where is he?
I don't know. It's just like I'm the father and you are all my children, and I don't know what my children are doing.
It's funny that you have a child that's so much older than you are.
As well, it's kind of weird.
It is very weird.
But it's true. It's my APG family.
We're your wayward children.
Actually, Liz is my big sis.
That's
Nick is that guy that we really don't like to talk about
No, the
Yeah,
black
he said
sheep.
the
I
black
should have got
sheep.
some black sheep beer
That's
tonight
kind
somewhere.
of embarrassing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
We
yeah.
try not
There is
to
a guy
talk about
named
it.
Kind of the
Captain
wacky
Nick.
guy that comes to Christmas dinner and embarrasses everybody.
What's his name? Uncle
Indeed.
Cousin Vinny. No, cousin.
Uncle Buck.
No, the guy that in the RV in National Lampoon.
Oh.
Cousin. What's his name? Cousin. What's his name? Come on, help me out, chat.
Oh, Pip wants some pocket money.
Can I have some pocket money, Dad? Yeah. Here, let me see if I can find something for you. That doesn't sound right.
Excuse me.
Let's see. Coins. Dropping. Let's see what kind of sound effect I get.
Uncle Hickey. No.
No.
Uncle Lewis.
Huh?
Uncle Lewis.
Uncle Lewis?
So it says.
No, it was a cousin. It was the guy in the RV. Lewis is the old guy, the uncle.
Cousin Eddie.
Cousin Eddie, that's it. Thank you. There you go. That's for you. Pip, right here. Maybe I can find some more.
Cousin Eddie. See Mizzou.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Well, we're going to start as soon as somebody joins us, but I don't know where they are.
I'm here.
Yeah, I know you're here. You're always here. Thank goodness.
I'm gonna put add an extra penny for you.
Tim
Here,
Van Ram wants to call you Daddy, Jeff. Is that okay?
yeah, he does anyway when we're not doing the show.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's when young ladies start calling you daddy, you want to worry.
Now, Jeff,
Unless they have like a daddy thing, then I'm okay with it.
Randy Quaid. Yeah, that's who he was. Who's so
Yeah.
bizarre now.
Cousin Eddie, that's it. Thank you, Mazoos.
So, Jeff, have you got your recorder on?
I do not yet, but I'm going to go ahead and turn it on now so I don't
Yeah,
forget.
Please do.
Okay,
Making me nervous.
Record. Okay, I got a big red light, and let me go over here
Red light district.
to this and hit record on that. Oh, why is it so loud?
I didn't know.
Hello, testing 1, 2, 3. Kind of loud, so I'm going to back this off a little bit.
Doesn't sound loud to me.
I know. I'm talking about on the recorder,
Oh.
on the DAW.
We'll wait
Digital
till Mike
audio
comes here,
workstation.
unless we're all over the
Link
place.
back to Reaper. I'm going to turn this down a little bit. Okay. Yeah, it's stuff that you guys can't see
He
or
does
hear.
know that code expires in a certain amount of time, I hope.
Well, speak of the devil.
Is it there?
I see a white screen.
Oh,
He's
Oh,
making
the devil's
progress.
arrived.
Oh,
there he is.
there he is.
Ah, good Lord. He
There he is.
lives. He lives. Look,
Hey,
there he
everybody.
is.
He's still alive. Oh,
Yay.
just left
Mm.
again.
He-
Oh.
oh, no.
Oh.
Hey!
Still alive.
All right. You guys hear me all right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you sound
Great.
great.
All right. Good deal. Here we are.
Sweet.
Here we are.
How's
Great.
everybody
Welcome
doing?
back.
Long
And
Thank you.
you want us to do a check on Unity Comms just to make sure that's working all right?
Yes, let's
Sorry,
do that.
everybody. We're going to mute
Roger that.
ourselves here on StreamYard for
Let
a
me
minute.
mute myself here.
All right.
It's working.
It works. Look at all this technology.
I know all these upgrades.
This is way too much
That's
for
fun.
way too much
I
for a bone
just
pilot.
realized I don't have a RIC button. I don't have a RIC button on my.
Good thing.
I do have a red button, but it's not lit up. But
Probably,
it doesn't matter.
probably for the best.
Yeah. Well, I was worried if I put a RIC button, it would probably give me a RIC roll.
Oh,
Oh.
look at that, Captain Nick. Tim remembers it's your birthday coming up.
I
Yeah.
know.
Oh, Thank you. Yes. I've ordered myself a birthday present. In fact,
Very
I've
nice.
already got my birthday present.
And when does she come in?
Well, I don't know.
Mail order
would be a-
bride?
That would be another
An
birthday
an
present.
inflatable one?
An inflatable bride? No,
Jingles doesn't care. Oh, man.
no, she's flying all the way from another country.
Very nice,
I'm
very
Not
nice.
Sure, I have.
No, I'm playing with my
There it is.
birthday present.
Yeah, me too. But I probably shouldn't do that on camera.
You probably shouldn't. So now you
Sorry,
see
Lily.
me through my
This is-
birthday
this is-
present.
It's our usual.
No,
silly
Lily.
Yeah, you
Lily
don't.
has listened to our show before.
Oh,
She
okay,
claims,
okay.
so she knows how we are,
How we get down?
how I am.
Okay, Neil, you're going to be booted out of the chat room soon. Good to see you, Rick. I don't believe any of the things the others have been saying.
I wouldn't either because it was pretty outrageous.
Oh, yeah, some of them are terrible, quite honestly.
Right.
They wouldn't be allowed on any other podcast.
Rick, before I forget, you'll note on the right hand of the StreamYard window, there's a thing that says recording, and it has like a little, probably a number, like a red number. Or
Yes, recording one.
So what's happening is it's recording your thing locally, and then it's going to send it up, and it's sending up while we're doing the show. But at the end of the show, it usually takes a little extra time to make sure that the file is completely uploaded to the server.
Okay.
So I don't think you'll do this, but
Don't shut down.
don't leave, don't shut down out of StreamYard until we say it's okay to do that.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Have you been sending feedback to Stream with all these upgrades? Because this takes care of you having to, us having to individually record each
Right.
channel.
No, it's just something that they've improved over time, and I think that's available for most of the. We're on the professional level, so there's free, and then there's basic, and then there's. Now your signal was cutting in and out a little bit, Rick. Unfortunately.
Try talking a bit more.
Okay. Let me see here.
Do you have it? Do you have it
So
directly
connection's
connected, or is it
fine.
just Wi-Fi?
No. No, it's Wi-Fi.
Oh yeah, it's
Got,
whatever you're
I've
I've got
touching
good
right
signal,
now.
good strength.
Yeah, I think it's your actually it's your connection to your mic because of that. Whatever you were touching there was kind of going in and out.
Stop touching.
Oh,
Whoa!
Hey, Steffi, yay!
hey!
All I can
look
see
at
is
that.
Wow, Steph's had
a
some
very
sun since
tan
I last
figure
saw
with
her.
very
Yeah.
white teeth.
It's the
Blinding.
white after Labor Day T-shirt too. It's adding to the contrast. I don't know.
We need to
Cool.
get you some better lighting so we
Great
can
There we
actually
are.
see your
Lighting
face.
My lighting is good as long as there's not. I need to. Really, what I need to do is.
No,
block
we
the
need to
light
have a
coming
light
from
in front of you to light
I
your face,
do,
so it
yeah.
won't matter
I know.
what's behind you.
I have two actually.
Oh, do you? Oh, well, never mind.
Have you turned them on?
Yep.
You can see you when you
no.
smile. Your teeth are so white.
Oh yeah, your teeth are.
Oh, look at that!
Brilliant.
Lily says that she listens to every single
I know,
episode.
and
Bless her
they're people in the
heart.
household, and they get a lot of
Wow!
use out of this. Wow.
Oh my goodness! Wow! I guess we'll have to really be careful about what we say now.
We're gonna have to up our 50%.
Yeah, maybe bump it up to
Game.
55.
52. Let's not.
52? Okay, that's
Yeah,
more
let's not
manageable.
get
Like
too ambitious.
incremental.
Let's don't get crazy.
Let's not get crazy now.
Okay.
So are we ready to go?
Everybody
Let me
is
see.
here, and I'm
Yeah,
going
unfortunately,
to
Camacho's busy today, so
everybody but Camacho.
not
Yeah,
quite a full crew.
almost everybody though.
Almost
So
everybody. It's great to see Rick, though.
Almost.
is that? Are you happy? Are you applauding, Nick? Or are you swatting
I'm
buttons?
trying to kill all the insects that are coming in through
beer
the
exploded.
open window.
Uh oh. Now Steph's having an issue.
I'll be right back.
A beer spill.
Did it?
I mean, I didn't
Overflow.
actively spill it. All I did was open it, and it kind of
Exploded.
exploded.
Someone must have shook it.
Most of it ended up on the
I'm
plastic
all
mat here I have
shook
on the
up.
floor. Well, it
Oh,
just came
that's good.
home in the car with me from the grocery store, so I'm guessing it was.
Oh, well, I know the way
Got
you drive,
scribbled.
so
Yeah, I'll be right back.
I'm not going to
Scribbled.
survive
Ah,
that
there you
journey
go.
without a few hiccups.
Okay. Oh,
Not another
she's exited. Stage left there.
beer shampoo. We've had enough of those on these shows.
I know.
Hello, Mayman Micah. He's driving
There's Micah. Hi, Micah.
driving us nuts is what he's doing. Just kidding.
The website has been updated, so no complaints on that.
Good, yeah.
Yeah.
He'll have to complain about something else.
Not a repeat of the Dana laptop. No, it doesn't. I don't think so.
We've had several repeats of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're really good at that.
What a waste of beer.
Actually, I could do with renewing my old MacBook Pro. It is
Maybe
getting a
that's your
bit
Christmas
tired
present.
Test. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
now. I tell you, Jilly's got her Christmas present already.
Oh,
A new
I thought-
MacBook Pro?
Very nice.
Sadly not, otherwise I'd be using it.
Oh.
No, she has a new sewing machine. And
Oh,
when I say
nice.
sewing machine, I mean
Ooh, very
it's
nice.
like a computerized,
nice for her quilting.
amazing. This is the sort of thing they use at Jodrell Bank to download satellite data.
Hey, Liliana, if I know this is just a last minute thing, but do you have like a mic / camera setup? If so, I can send you a guest link, and you could, while we're talking about your event coming up next week, you could come on.
You okay now, Steph? Everything okay?
Yeah, situation's under control.
No, that's good.
Oh man,
Good.
I don't know about this beer though. I mean, I poured it as slowly as I could into a glass, and it was still like this
Wow,
much
look
foam
at it. Yeah.
What you got there?
all day.
All day IPA.
Flavor of the
And
day.
of course, the
All day
cleaners were
long.
here today, so
Of
I've
course.
already,
Of course.
you know, it's all right.
Yep.
It smelled like cleaning products. Now it smells like beer.
Oh, I know.
No, she doesn't, Jeff. She only has
Okay.
an iPhone.
Nah, we'll just leave you in the live audience, Lily, and I'll just read what you sent me, if that's okay. Because that kind of can be a little wonky. Do you agree,
we-
What,
producer
you're
Liz?
reading?
My reading can definitely be wonky too. Well, Liz,
Yes, sir.
I do have everything. All my recorders are on,
Okay.
and now I just realized that I need to make sure I have all the intros in place in here. So
Okay.
I didn't, so I need to do that. So sorry. Just take another couple seconds. Okay, and take Camacho's out and put it down here, and then I move this one here from Mr.
Mr.
Miami Rick,
Yeah.
and
lives.
paste,
All right.
and
I live.
How's
I
that?
live.
How's that
You
Lucy
do,
girl?
sadly.
How's your Lucy girl?
Against all odds. Oh, she's great. She's so we had to clear out the pantry because it's just been a mess with the whole remodel thing, and we put the two big bins of dog food here in the hallway, and she's scared of the dog food.
She's scared of
I thought you were going to say she
They're
got
very
into.
imposing,
Yeah, she's scared of the bins,
containers.
like the two bins, because she doesn't like boxes. She doesn't like stuff like so. We put those here in the little hallway here, and so I guess she's not used to seeing them there. So she was turning the corner, saw him there. She's like, "Oh, put the brakes." And I was like, "What the hell was that?" So, yeah,
Oh dear.
but she's great, my little girl.
Excellent.
all right. I think we
Ready to
may
roll?
be ready here.
All righty. Ready when you are.
Okay, starting at 17:21 Eastern Daylight
on.
Time. Radio Roger in the chat room. It's your time. Go.
You're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy Show.
The view from our side of the cockpit door.
WAPG. It's the Airline Pilot Guy.
Airline Pilot Guy, episode 584.
Yeah, he's up in the sky. It's the Airline Pilot Guy.
Hello, you're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy Show, the view from our side of the cockpit door. with your host, Captain Jeff, broadcasting live from Studio 1A at APG headquarters in Roswell, Georgia. Today's show is recorded on the 6th of September, 2023.
Yeah, he's up in the sky. It's the airline pilot guy. Picture light and he's flying by. With the airline pilot guy.
In today's episode,
Wasting away again in Margaritaville.
the aviation world mourns the loss of amateur pilot and legendary singer-songwriter Jimmy Buffett. A $4 million fine for American Airlines for trapping passengers on sitting planes for hours. More news and your feedback, so get all settled in. Tray tables and seat backs in the upright and locked positions. Electronic devices powered on. I'm Radio Roger, and Flight 584 is ready for pushback.
Thank you, Radio Roger. He's an award-winning TV and radio reporter, currently at the #1 all-news station in the nation, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM in
New York City.
And he's also here in our live audience today. Welcome, Roger. Welcome to the Airline Pilot Guy Show. It's an aviation podcast covering the latest in aviation news and answering your great feedback. I'm Captain Jeff, pilot at a major legacy airline based somewhere in the United States. And joining us from her lakeside studio in... She's a doctor, skydiver, marathon runner, strength training junkie, IPA connoisseur, commercial multi-engine instrument rated, backstabbing jumper dumper, Dr. Steph.
Hey, Captain Jeff. It is such a pleasure to be back with you all today. Sorry, I think I missed the last episode. Maybe the one before that? Not sure. I can't keep
I
up
don't know.
anymore, but everyone's here today. Almost everyone's here today.
We almost took you off the crew list, so
man. I was
you're lucky you
surprised.
came back today because it was getting close.
It was like probation.
Okay, yeah. Well, so nice to see you, and can't wait to start this show. But before we do, let's introduce from his studio,
In Hartford, Hereford, and Hampshire.
professional photographer, former RAF, RAAF fighter pilot. You know what I did? I messed up the seniority, didn't I? My bad. Hang on.
Yeah,
No problem. I'll be
ready
sending
for
an
that,
email to
really.
the union about this.
That's what I was afraid of, so I thought I better just stop. It's easier for me to fix this in post than it is
Union
to
rep.
get all the nasty emails from Rick. All right, yeah, and a little bit over modulating on you, Rick. You can back off a little
He
bit.
was upset. He's
How's that?
shouting in the
Oh,
mic.
that's why.
I don't
Okay.
blame him.
All right. Okay, here we go. And joining us from his home studio in the Valley of the Sun, world traveler, airplane mechanic, dog rescue volunteer, fitness hound, and international air freight captain, it's Miami Rick.
Hey, everybody. I was certainly almost taken off the crew list here, but I'm certainly happy to be back. See almost everybody here, and it's going to be a good one.
Yes, well, just by the hair of your chinny chin chin. All right, and great to have you with us, Rick. And also joining us from his studio,
In Hartford, Hereford, and Hampshire.
professional photographer, former RAF, RAAF fighter pilot, retired Airbus A330, A340 captain for Virgin Atlantic Airways. It's Captain Nick.
Hi there, Jeff, and hi everybody. Who are these strangers? I'm just like a bad smell. I'm always hanging around. But in a few days, it's going to be very special for me. I'm having a soissons neuf.
Okay, not sure what that is. And also joining us from her studio in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, retired financier and aviation enthusiast, spreadsheet master, and our producer director. It's Liz Piper.
Hi, everybody. It's great to have so many people on the show today.
It's weird.
Who are they, Liz?
I don't know, but they're here. And
It's like I'm nervous. I'm not used to pushing all these buttons.
I know.
Buttons. What was it
Have
we
a
were going to
good
add to
show.
your description, your intro, Liz?
Oh, biblical scholar, yes.
Biblical scholar.
scholar.
Darn it! I should have written that down. It's a long story.
It's a long story.
Fair enough.
Bye,
Yeah.
everybody.
I
Have
don't
a
doubt
good
it.
show.
I don't doubt it.
Okay, we'll hear you on the comms. And without further ado, all right, we hear you, or I do at least. Let's go ahead and talk about some aviation news. I just need to find the button. Button.
Stand by for news.
As the APG announcer mentioned in his intro today, first item in our news, musician and pilot Jimmy Buffett flies west. And this article is from Flying Magazine, appropriately. The lifestyle icon Jimmy Buffett built the Margaritaville brand and owned several aircraft he piloted over his career. He was especially fond of seaplanes, and which is really super cool and makes sense if you know anything at all about Jimmy Buffett and his music. Most of the world who sang along with him at concerts knew Jimmy Buffett as a sailor, but those who fly knew him as a fellow pilot who loved the sky almost as much as he loved his mother ocean. James William Buffett died on the evening of September 1st, surrounded by family, friends, music, and dogs, according to a statement released on social media on Saturday. He left behind his wife, Jane, 2 daughters, and 1 son, and a comprehensive catalog of songs, books, and businesses that embody the Margaritaville lifestyle captured by his most famous record of that title. He was born on Christmas Day, 1946. And after fits and starts that included an initial failure to break into Nashville's music industry, he found his way to the Florida Keys and a lifestyle that would inspire his, I should have gone over, is it Ouvert? Is that how you pronounce that? Ouvert? Ouvre? Ouvre. What does that mean? Like his genre, his style? Well, then why didn't they use that word? Okay.
Well, it doesn't sound as sophisticated.
It doesn't. It makes me sound stupid. And I think, you know what, now that I'm thinking about it, Liz, did you switch it out and put that word in there just to make me stumble? I bet she did. Anyway, that's what I get for not reading it before I did the show. Anyway, so Jimmy Buffett's music is kind of special to me because I think that he started his life in like on the Florida Gulf Coast, but then his family moved to, it says Mobile, but a little outside of Mobile, and is it like Chickasaw or one of the? It's another little city like in the outskirts of Mobile, and so he's kind of in that area where I spent a lot of my formative years down in the on the Gulf Coast. And honestly, I didn't really like his music until I went off to college. I was at Auburn University, and all my roommates were parrot heads, and they played his music non-stop. And at first, I just gave me a headache and made me want to throw up. And then after a while, the more I listened to it, I thought, well, thank you. It is a nice tribute.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
Rest in peace, Jimmy Buffett. I thought your music was garbage.
No, but that was before I finally realized the genius of his music. I was listening to it and I thought, oh, you know what? This is pretty good. And I love Jimmy Buffett. I think his music is awesome. So, you know, I went from the wrong place to the right place. And he was a young man, only 76 years old when he passed away, and we're going to miss him. He had a quite a following of parrot heads out there. That's what they call the people that love Jimmy Buffett and his music. And I know I've been to a couple of his concerts, and I know that Steph has as well. Are you a parrot head, Rick?
Most definitely not.
Okay, he does not like Jimmy Buffett. So he kind of identified with my initial reaction to his music.
I was right there with you, Jeff, until you changed your tune.
Oh, sorry.
So I'll just
pun intended.
Okay. Yes, Steph.
I grew up with a parent who was a huge fan of Jimmy Buffett music, and we. Growing up in Utah, when we would go skiing on the weekends, my dad thought it was great to play Jimmy Buffett on the way to and from the ski resort because it definitely was not doing anything on the beach, so that seemed appropriate. But this was back in the 90s where we had cassette players in the car, and we only had one Jimmy Buffett cassette, so it was the same live album.
Which one? Oh, live? Okay.
Feeding Frenzy, actually.
Okay.
To this day, I know all the words of all of those songs on that album.
Yeah.
Yes, I've been to a few live shows. The genius of Jimmy Buffett was in his live shows. Everyone was there just for the party and the good time. So
yeah.
And
in fact,
if you read further in this article, it talks about him owning a lot of different types of aircraft. supposedly, allegedly, there's a Cessna Caravan out there that used to belong to him that I have flown.
Oh,
Ooh, very nice.
There's a connection
But
right
it
there.
was owned by Jimmy Buffett. So
Yeah, when he
10 hours
toured,
of that
I guess he was touring in a Dassault Falcon 50 and later a Falcon 900, and he's type rated, or he was type rated in both aircraft. And then, as you mentioned, he's had a whole bunch of different airplanes, a lot of amphibs, Grumman Albatross.
Yeah, that's a good looking airplane.
Cool stuff.
Oh man, it's an awesome airplane. And Liz is going to show us that in the video here. Isn't that a beautiful airplane?
I agree with you, Micah. Absolutely.
What does he say? Because for the people that can't read that,
says here. He says that I agree with you, Rick. I never liked his music, and he didn't write music. Musical perspective-wise, I guess he says that he only wrote it as jingles as a businessman, and I agree.
Wow,
with that.
that's kind of harsh.
Well, I mean,
well, this isn't. I'm going to have to cut out this whole darn first article, I guess. Darn it.
You didn't know there were so many.
I know, so many haters.
Jimmy Buffett.
All right. Well,
I mean, I like the airplane aspect of it. I mean,
Yeah.
but
Well,
now
screw-
he's having a
screw all
cheeseburger
of
in
you if you don't
paradise,
like it.
and
Yeah.
good for him.
I don't know. He owned cool airplanes, and
what?
although I can't
okay.
read Captain.
Yeah, we
Nick's
can't read that
comment.
comment from some idiot named Captain Nick in our live audience. Okay. I think
Shall
it's
we
best.
move on to the next
Yeah, I
article?
think we
Rest in
really
peace, Jimmy
need to move
Buffett.
on. Let's move on to something more positive. And there really is nothing in here that's really more positive, but we're going to try. Next item here, American Airlines has been slapped with, I should have gotten a slap sound effect. Whap. With $4 million fine for trapping hundreds. They trapped hundreds of passengers on board an airplane.
Oh no! The
Yeah,
horror,
they must have
tragedy.
how did they do that?
They closed the doors.
And they locked it.
Close the doors.
I can tell you how it happens in Charlotte.
Oh, has it happened to you, Steph?
Maybe.
Yeah. So anyway, on board heavily delayed airplanes for hours at a time and not giving them the opportunity to deplane. The civil penalty is the largest ever fine of its kind levied by the Department of Transportation after the agency ruled that AA had unlawfully kept hundreds of passengers on 43 affected flights on board and against their will. U.S. law requires airlines to have contingency plans in place for lengthy tarmac delays. And in most cases, airlines are required to allow passengers the opportunity to deplane once the delay has hit a certain length. In the case of domestic flights, passenger must be given the opportunity to deplane after a tarmac delay of 3 hours or more. For international flights, a tarmac delay of 4 hours should trigger the opportunity for passengers to deplane. The only exception to this rule is if the airline can prove that allowing passengers to deplane would jeopardize safety or security, or if air traffic control tells the pilot that deplaning passengers would significantly disrupt airport operations. In the 43 cases...
My question here was going to be if... I'm sorry, quick thing, because I haven't flown passengers in a long time. My question here was going to be if... so you know how jet bridge slots are so, I guess... Just so complicated during peak hours to get a slot in a jet bridge, and if you push back and there's no room for you, then what do you do then? I mean, if you're getting close to the 3 hours in a domestic flight, what do you just air stare them down?
So I was alluding
put them in
to
bus,
you push
or?
back and can't leave for some reason, and then one thing leads to another, and you're trying to get back, and there's no gates, and then the ramp is closed because there's a thunderstorm. And
Lightning, exactly. So I mean, at some point,
it happens sometimes.
It's just. Anyway.
So I guess that would be some examples of some of the exceptions that could be applied, but they have to be convincing to the DOT apparently. As a result of, I'm sorry, we're laughing at somebody making a show title suggestion. Let's move on. As a result, federal officials ruled that AA should have allowed passengers the opportunity to deplane, and in some cases also have provided them with snacks and water. Yeah, this is all stuff that we all, I thought, knew are the rules. Anyway, most of the delays were caused by severe weather, especially severe thunderstorms at American Airlines' main hub in Dallas-Fort Worth, and the airline told investigators that it had devoted considerable resources to reducing tarmac delays in recent years. American disputed whether a January 13, 2019 flight should have been subject to enforcement action because it was trapped on a snow-covered taxiway at Washington Reagan Airport during a severe winter storm. The DOT wasn't persuaded by American's defense, but the agency credited the airline $2.05 million for compensation had already voluntarily paid out. The DOT wasn't persuaded by American's defense, but the agency credited the airline $2.05 million for compensation that American had already voluntarily paid out to passengers who had been trapped on the affected flights. Anyway, let's see. What did American Airlines have to say in their defense? Apparently they did not reply. Yeah, no comment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's, I guess, over how long of a period was this? They said 2018 to 2021. Oh, okay. Well, why is this now just being...
That's how long it takes for anything of a bureaucratic nature to...
You got to give us news that's a little bit more up to date.
Okay. In other news, the Wright brothers have flown for the first time.
Breaking news. Okay. Well, yeah. Oh, by the way, that was from Paddle Your Own Canoe. I should mention that. All
nice.
right.
Very nice.
Yeah, I think that's all we really can say about that. The Aviation Herald is the source for this next news item. A Delta Airlines Airbus A350-900 registration November 576 Delta Zulu, or Z for those of you. Well, no, it'd still be Zulu in the phonetic. Performing flight 175 from Milan Malpensa in Italy to Atlanta, GA, Georgia, with 151 passengers and 14 crew, was descending towards Atlanta when the aircraft encountered severe turbulence, causing a number of injuries. The aircraft continued for a safe landing on Atlanta's runway 8 left. 11 people were taken to the hospital. The airline reported the aircraft experienced severe turbulence just before a safe landing in Atlanta, and there were 11 injuries. Okay, we just talked about that. The FAA reported probably the same thing. Yep, sure enough, it's the same thing. Let's see, METARs at the time at the airport. This did not happen at the airport, by the way. This happened about 40...
Probably happened over Charlotte.
Yeah, it was kind of between the Charlotte area. Yeah, because of all the hot air from
I was going to say
population in Charlotte.
A lot of hot air turbulence over Charlotte.
No, what I can tell you was there was a very, very low pressure system in the area, just to the south of the track of the flight coming in, and it was up there to the northeast of Atlanta. And they actually named it this low pressure system, Hurricane Idalia. I don't know if it was still a hurricane at that point, but it was still a pretty strong tropical storm or tropical depression. I'm not sure what it was at that point, but that had, to me, in my opinion, had to be what happened here. They ended up encountering the severe turbulence due to the effect of the outer rings of that storm. How many of those passengers had seatbelts on, Liz? Well, that would be a good question. Now, I'm sure that
everyone except 11 of them might.
Exactly. There's your answer.
That's true. Oh, wait, that deserves the old bell here. So let me see if I can find it. All right, I can't find it. Why can't I not find it? Here it is. And how many? Let's see. There are 14 crew, so I would think that there were probably like 10 or 11. Flight attendants, I think. Let's see, 4 cabin crew and 8 passengers. So the 4 cabin crew, I would imagine, unless the captain had advised them to be seated, they were probably not seated with their seatbelts fastened. But the 8 passengers...
they'll be clearing in, tidying up, getting everything ready for secure for landing.
Yeah,
right.
They're running around like nobody's business usually.
Well, see, here's the problem, though. In this situation, I would likely have briefed that we're going to go ahead and make all the cabin preparations early so that you guys can be seated before we started our descent. The problem here, though, and in my airline, there's a certain acronym for that procedure. Although I've been using that same procedure ever since I've been a captain at Acme. But the problem with it is that even when you tell the flight attendants to do the early cleanup and take their seats, they don't always do it as quickly as you think they're going to, or they don't really take it seriously. And
they have to hand out those credit card applications. Are not going to have them themselves out. So
I know.
That's what
that is so true.
About that just now from the Sultan Airlines.
That just drives me nuts. Yeah. That drives me nuts. Yeah, Brad. Yeah, they would be selling credit cards. Yep, that's sadly true. But because I've seen it. I've heard the captain make the PA or the captain's representative make a PA, and this, we need you to take your seats immediately. And then I'm looking around and looking, down the aisle, and I can see they're still up and handing out coats and everything else. I'm thinking, did he not? So what I will say to my lead flight attendant is, okay, I want you to, you got 10 minutes. Take care of the cabin and be sitting. And when you are all seated with your seatbelts on, then call me and let me know, because that just gives me peace of mind to know that I'm going to be
loop there.
Yeah.
And then they realize that hey, we've got a time limit on this.
Right.
Not just precautionary. Maybe it's important. Maybe it's not. Or just lose track of time.
I do have something else to deal with though, as far as low pressure systems go. The South China Sea and Japan, Korea, Hong Kong have been really, really active the last couple of weeks, couple of months. And there is one thing that we really have to be careful over there, because the fact that their transition level and transition altitudes, which is the point at which you go from, I guess, local barometric reference to standard barometric reference, is lower than it is in the States. So here in the States is 18,000 feet. In other places it's lower. I think Hong Kong is 11,000, and that depends on what the barometric pressure is, because if it's below a certain point, it's actually a different altitude versus if it's at a higher pressure. It's just a mess. And the problem with that is that if you switch your from QNH to QNE or QNE to QNH within 2,000 feet of that transition level, while using vertical navigation profile on the airplane, you could very well be up to 200 feet off your cleared altitude. And so you have to, there you go, Tanya. So you have to, so the procedure here is, what we usually do is
you fly
switch over.
Don't you, Rick?
Well, yeah. Well, but I hear everybody does this. I'll switch from QNH to QNE or the other way around if my cleared level is within 1,000 feet of transition, 2,000 feet below, 2,000 feet prior to my cleared altitude, so that I actually am on the cleared altitude or cleared level where I'm supposed to be at. And that's something that, if you don't deal with flying around and in low pressure systems, you can completely overlook. Oh, there you go. Oh, come on, that wasn't that technical.
No, just a little taste. It's been so long since we've heard any excerpts from the Wikipedia that we're just thrilled inside to hear it, and we're just excited. I'm sorry, we shouldn't have done that.
So for all you av geeks out there, if you want to know what the actual barometric pressure that we have to take into account when this happens is 2970 inches of mercury, or 1 to 006 hectopascal. So anything below that, you have to be careful and switch from QNE to QNH or vice versa outside of 2,000 feet from your cleared altitude. Otherwise, you'll be at a mismatched altitude, and vertical separation is not guaranteed. So.
Ooh. And now, what does it have to do with the passengers not wearing seatbelts?
Well, low pressure systems.
Ah, gotcha. Okay, now I got the connection. My bad. I wasn't paying attention. Okay, great. Well, thanks, Rick. And has it been quite bumpy in those low pressure systems over there in that part of the world?
It has been, but you know what? I tell you, every time. So we were flying in from what the hell were we flying in from? Oh, we were flying from Delhi to Hong Kong the other day with a phenomenal first officer. John is his name. I'm not going to say his last name, but John guy. He was a captain with Virgin Australia on the 777, and he came over to Acme Giant on a visa, Australian guy. So apparently, I didn't know this, but we do there's a reciprocity program between the Australians and us as far as being able to work in each other's countries. So he came over with a ton of experience. But anyway, flying Delhi to Hong Kong, and I've spoken about this to Captain Nick at the controllers, approach controllers in the Hong Kong area they just blows my mind how good they are. I mean, you don't even have to ask. It's like they know exactly what you need and where you need to go, and it helps them as well because they need to keep traffic flowing a certain way. And if they're not, preemptively and proactively giving you the vectors required to get you around weather, then you're going to have traffic all over the place. So these guys and these gals know exactly where to send you, how to send, how far to send you off track, what altitude to clear you at. So they're just great. They're just great.
Yep, I have to concur. I always loved Hong Kong. It's just like going home. You always feel comfortable with your own controllers. Nice to get home. Hong Kong was one of those places where you always had great confidence in the controllers.
Absolutely.
All right. Very good. Anything else to add, Steph?
I got nothing.
Okay. Got nothing. All right. Well,
you will.
Maybe
you will soon.
I will. Yeah, don't worry.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's continue then with this next item again from the Aviation Herald. A Nordwind Airlines Airbus A321-200, registration Victor Quebec Bravo Romeo Sierra. I almost failed. Performing positioning flight 1801 from Moscow's Sheremetyevo. Oh, shoot, I should have that sound effect somewhere. No, I don't think I have it. Here, we'll just play this one.
Домодедово.
Which is not the same one as the other one.
The other one.
To Antalya, Turkey, with 7 crew, was on approach to, how do you say that? Antalya? Antiala? I don't know. Come on, somebody tell me. Runway 36 center at about 7:40 local time, but touched down hard on the runway, about 2.65 G. That's how hard. That's a lot.
Problem.
The crew initiated a go-around. The crew observed attitude and navigation indication problems were observed by the crew. Smoke developed in the navigation indication problems were observed by the crew. Smoke developed in the cockpit. The crew donned their oxygen masks, declared Mayday, performed a low approach to runway 36 center to have the underside of the aircraft, including landing gear, inspected for any structural issues. While climbing out...
that part I don't understand. I mean, the gear's down a lot. The hell do you have to verify? I mean, you just landed 2.65 Gs on the nose gear. It's down, trust me.
Yeah, but I'm wondering if they're probably going, well, I wonder if it's still there.
Can we break it off?
It might not be there anymore.
Jesus.
And then the flight attendant would say, oh, yes, I've confirmed it's there. It's inside the cabin. You think I'm joking, but there really is.
There it is.
So while climbing out, both main hydraulic systems failed. The crew declared Mayday a second time. If it wasn't bad enough the first time.
We need more Mayday.
We need a double Mayday. Performed a visual approach and landing on runway 36 center. The aircraft was unable to vacate the runway. They stopped. The aircraft was shut down. Post-flight inspection showed both nose gear tires deflated. The nose gear strut had been pushed through the cabin floor. The fuselage, all in the area of the nose gear, showed significant creases, lots of wrinkling. Russia's embassy there in Turkey reported that there were no passengers on board the aircraft, only crew, according to the local office of Nordwind Airlines. The aircraft suffered a hard landing. There were no injuries. The aircraft sustained damage, however. Wondering, does it say in here if it was some kind of a training flight or something?
I don't know. Probably a ferry flight, repositioning flight.
Oh, it could have been. Did I maybe say that at the very beginning?
Yeah.
No, I don't think it says.
Yeah, positioning flight.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Oh, positioning flight. Okay, so there you go. There's the answer. Okay, so discuss.
Oh, I like this part that's highlighted, though. At some unknown date, the investigating board silently, without any announcement or entry into updates list, released their interim report in Russian, stating that
Simon loves this.
Yeah, that's his favorite. So just know that Liz
Wow.
highlighted that. So that's all.
So I'm wondering here, and you know, since everybody knows I haven't flown an Airbus, thank goodness. But I know that there's on I guess it's called ECAM over there, on the gear synoptic, the nose gear, you do have PSI readouts on the tires, right? So if those are there, then of course the landing gear is going to be there, because it doesn't mention that wasn't there. That's one thing.
I suspect they're X'd out. But
Well, you know, well, yeah, but I mean, it's, but I don't know. I mean, I'm not, you know, Monday morning quarterbacking this thing at all. But if you had something as heavy as that happen, I think the last thing I want to do is, you know, try and fly around, not knowing what the condition of the aircraft is. And if you had a hit that hard, as we saw here in the article, the loss of a hydraulic or multiple hydraulic systems is a clear possibility. And then how do you control the aircraft if you lose all hydraulic power? I read here in the article that the first stops are manually trimmed, which is interesting.
yeah,
but-
the controls had reverted to a
they went to
backup mode.
it says here it went to direct law, right?
Yeah,
And then
probably.
and then the other thing I see here is that obviously very, very light because of the V approach, 122 knots. So VREF 117 plus 5 is 122 knots for the V approach. So that tells me that's obviously a very, very light aircraft. And then the guy started getting, it says that they called it a stabilized approach, but they're at 1,000 feet above ground level, the airspeed was 145 indicated. Now, if your V approach is 122 and your indicated airspeed at 1,000 feet is 145, that puts you, 23 knots? Puts you 28 knots over your VREF.
Plus or minus 50 knots.
Exactly,
That's what
right.
we're-
So how is that
Well,
stabilized?
Different companies have different stabilized approach criteria, and the speed aspect is usually you're usually given a margin, so you don't have to be back at VREF.
Oh yeah, but I mean, but if you look at the wind there, I mean, I understand that if you have you know, gusty conditions, you know, it's
no, it's just
half the
if you're
headwind plus
bleeding
the full
speed
gust
back, or
factor.
you've had speed control, then you know you wouldn't necessarily. If you're coming into an American airfield, God, it's 180 knots to 5 miles
Oh, yeah.
or whatever. You're very lucky to get your speed back by 1,000 feet to
Welcome to
VREF.
Chicago.
So you're given a margin of error.
You know what I do?
Companies
It's
to prevent
plus 10 minus 10, right? Plus 10
unnecessary-
minus 10. So
yeah, well, not every airline does that. No, some have a slightly larger.
That's an FAA thing, I think, but I don't know. Let's let the flight attendant land, according to Brad, the Sultan of Wings, in the live audience.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt about it. He made a horrendous mess up of the landing. What on earth he was doing going full forward stick? I have no idea why
Not a
he
good
would
technique.
over control like that. That seems ridiculous. Interestingly, now the bit that I got is not that he mishandled the aircraft dreadfully, or that he did a fly around to see if he still had 3 undercarriage legs. And I see your point, Jeff. One of them could have fallen off. You know, you just wanted to see, I guess, what the state of
Kind
the
of
gear
know what to
was.
expect, right?
Yeah, was that there's an awful lot of doubt as to the what happened to the data recorder.
yeah.
Because the CVR and the data recorder, they produced no recordings of the accident flight. And I was trying to make head and tail of the investigation, but apparently they were shifting data recorders in and out of various countries and on and off the aircraft until they got to the point where the ones they took off the aircraft had no data on it because they weren't actually on the aircraft when it appears to have had the incident. So that's kind of how I read it. I was trying to make head or tail of it
That's why you
earlier.
release your final report only in Russian without any announcement whatsoever.
Maybe nobody will notice.
Exactly. And someone made the point that it's actually, you're forbidden after an incident like this of touching any of the data recorders, certainly not removing them. And certainly not making an attempt to read them. That is down to the investigation to do that. So just to prevent this kind of strange behavior, and all of a sudden you haven't got any data from the flight. So I'm going.
In fact, to that point, Captain Nick. In fact, part of our shutdown checklist includes the CVR circuit breaker, whether to pull it or leave it pushed in. As part of that,
not something that we ever had on the Airbus or a procedure. We didn't have that on the Airbus. But, it's just very interesting that they had this problem of getting data. There wasn't any available. I wonder
very suspicious.
Now, I was the other thing that on the technical side of things, I was thinking about here the fact that obviously ground speed mini would not have been a factor because the guy disconnected autopilot and auto thrust during the intercept.
It'll still indicate
it'll still indicate, right?
Yeah, the target indicator for your speed to fly at, it will still move. It'll still give the equivalent of, but without the auto throttles connected, it won't automatically put it
right.
But
right.
It'll basically say fly that.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, because never flown with ground speed mini or ground speed maxi for that matter.
Oh, yeah, but you just do it manually. You add a gas factor and you do all that kind of stuff. That's all it is.
Okay, one more comment from our live audience before we move on from Maine Marin. The airplane had more wrinkles than a Shar-Pei.
I agree.
Yeah. Shar-Pei is
sadly,
cuter.
we've done wrinkly airplanes quite recently.
We have. Seems to be a recurring theme.
Yeah.
All right.
Indeed. Wow.
Let's move on with this next one. Paddle your own canoe, the source. So it should be interesting. Air France flight attendants rushed to put on special smoke hoods so they could extinguish an onboard fire after a passenger's battery pack caught fire during a flight from Paris to Accra, Ghana. The frightening incident happened on Monday. Of course, we've had this in our news folder for a little bit, so I don't know how long ago it was. A witness on board the Airbus A330 stated he started to smell an odor of burning electronics and initially started to check his own belongings before realizing that a battery pack belonging to the passenger sitting in front had started to smoke. Matthew Palaneza said the battery pack was, let me try that again. Matthew Palaneza, thank you, said the battery pack was plugged into the seat power supply and was charging while simultaneously charging a mobile phone that was connected to the battery pack. I guess that's not a good thing to do.
Tends to get toasty.
Yeah. The passenger who owned the battery pack, however, had fallen asleep and was none the wiser that his belongings were just about to start an in-flight emergency. Matthew has praised the coolness and exemplary professionalism of the flight attendants who rushed to equip themselves with firefighting equipment and quickly extinguished the smoking battery pack. Fellow passenger Marie Cecily Zinzu praised the aircrew, stating that a catastrophe had been avoided due to their responsiveness and professionalism. And if anything else here to add, or am I just going to continue to read very, very
eyewitness accounts
and how well and professional and responsive they were?
There's an interesting comment here that apparently came from the FAA. They suggested that passengers keep their electronic devices charged just 30% or less because this drastically reduces the risk of thermal runaway event. I've never heard that.
Yeah, then are people going to post TikToks?
I think I almost wonder if what they mean is when you plug it in to charge it, that you only charge it 30% at a time so it doesn't get really hot.
Yeah, I don't think they want them to be above that charge level, right? Because then some wonky things might happen with the battery controller.
Just charge all your stuff before you take it on the airplane.
And just don't plug it in, right? Don't charge it.
If you can help it.
I don't know. Just get rid of all these smart devices completely. No, I'm just kidding.
Bring a book. Talk to your neighbor.
We won't need the podcast if they do that.
Oh, that's true. Never mind. Disregard that last thing I said. Okay.
And I might remind you of our strapline: electronic devices turned on.
I know. Exactly. Yeah. And there's a reason behind that little motto that I've adopted many years ago. We're not going to go there today. All right. And let's move on to item I, also from Paddle Your Own Canoe. An airport worker with an airside pass at Philadelphia International Airport has been terminated from his job after he was caught with a loaded... Oh, shoot. Hang on. I got to get ready. A loaded gun.
Yeehaw!
There we go. While passing through a TSA security checkpoint while on his way to work at an unnamed retail concession. Too bad we couldn't come up with some cute concession that had something with like gunshot in the name. Oh well.
In Philadelphia?
Yeah. Maybe not. Okay. The man claimed he had been at a shooting range and had forgotten that his gun was still in his bag. The 9mm handgun was loaded with 9 bullets, including 1 in the chamber. That's not good. TSA agents quickly identified the handgun in the worker's bag, and he was cited by local police. How did they figure it out? Well, it looked just like a handgun. He also had his airside pass revoked, meaning that he is unable to work at the airport. So the TSA Federal Security Director for the Philadelphia Airport said that the man posed a possible insider threat, someone who works within an organization who poses a threat to safety or security. So far this year, the TSA has detected 26 handguns at checkpoints within Philadelphia Airport. Last year, the security agencies stopped 44 guns from being brought through checkpoints at the airport, a massive increase on pre-pandemic levels when only 20 handguns were. That's still too many. Back in 2019. Let's see. The rise can be attributed to 2 main reasons. The first is that people have seemingly forgotten that they can't bring their handgun in the cabin of a plane. Oh, yeah, well, I forgot. And the second is that the TSA is actually getting better at detecting prohibited items.
Isn't that their job?
Yeah, it is their job.
Although, I will say, probably more in the past 2 years going through security, at least here where I live, probably 30% of the time, they'll just ask even before you get up to hand over your ID and your boarding pass, as you're getting into the correct line for security screening. Now's a good time to make sure you don't have any firearms. And I'm like, really? Okay.
Yeah. But I guess to some people that might be a good thing to ask.
For a while, they were handing out, they wouldn't even say it. They just had little, stop sign cards printed out that said, check your bag for firearms. And then you, they had to give it to you, and then you had to, put it back in a little bin so that they could recycle them. I don't know.
Wow.
I guess it was becoming a big problem.
All right. Well, I'm glad they caught this case, and whether this was part of an insider thing going on, or if it was just, ignorance, who knows, really.
Yeah.
All right. And which one, Jay, you say? All right. Last but not least, this is from airlive.net. A man has been arrested for claiming to be an Air India pilot. I guess that's a very offensive thing to do. The man wearing a pilot's uniform told boarding staff that he was an Air India pilot.
He didn't even look Indian.
Nope.
I know. Well, I don't know. Is this actually a? Oh, that's.
This is a journalism report, so.
Yeah, so I don't think that
you're lucky that it's a kind of an airline-looking pilot and not a cruise ship captain.
Yeah, and are we sure that that's not some kind of a
picture? Yeah,
that could be a Navy outfit or something. I don't know. Anyway, the man wearing a pilot's uniform told boarding staff that he was an Air India pilot. The flight staff became suspicious and informed the airport security officials when he failed to answer during the interrogations. He was arrested.
Which way you pull for the houses to get small? He said forward. Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's suspicious.
Well, actually, I wouldn't have been suspicious at all because he told them he was a pilot. I mean, every pilot does that, doesn't they?
Yes, that's how you identify a pilot.
Yeah, that's true.
They're just going to tell you.
Yeah. How do you know when there's a pilot at the... Okay. Yeah, the story does get better. You're right, Liz. During interrogations, it was revealed that he posed as a pilot only to impress his girlfriends.
With a plural?
Friends.
Pearl?
Oh, my Lord.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So police made him send a message to his girlfriend saying he is not a pilot and handed him over to his family.
Burn.
Actually, that's the best part of the story.
Yeah.
The man wanted to become a pilot but could not pursue his dream due to the poor economic condition of his family. He took ground staff training at a private institute in Mumbai. According to police, the man said that he had girlfriends in Ahmedabad.
Ahmedabad.
That too?
Yeah.
Which is a neighboring city, I think. Rajkot and
Can't help you
Mumbai. Do you have any ideas? Also in the Netherlands. When he came to know one of his girlfriends was in Hyderabad.
Hyderabad, yeah.
Hyderabad. He reached, how bad? Hyderabad. He reached Vadodara Airport to board a flight to meet her. You're probably wondering, what was that sentence that Jeff just tried to read? I don't know. I've lost it.
Just massacred.
Yeah. After interrogating him, the cops asked him to send a message to all his girlfriends. We already heard that after he was handed to his family. Okay. So I'd like to know, hey, does that really work, people out there? You know, for the people listening who have impersonated a pilot out there to impress girlfriends, does that work?
Isn't that why we all got into this? No, I'm just kidding. It's not.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm not sure. It doesn't work for me anymore. I tell you that. But
you're not trying hard enough.
I guess not. Anyway, do you tell all your girlfriend stuff that you're a pilot?
I do, actually.
Does that work?
Well, I mean,
you do have girlfriends. I've met them.
Divulge here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So that's all we have to say about that. So I guess now, thankfully, we get to move on to something that might be a little bit more interesting. Getting to know us segment. It's that time of the show that we kind of get all caught up with what we've all been doing between shows. And it's been a while since Miami Rick has been with us. So, give us the, what do they call it? Reader's Digest version of the story.
The Cliff's Notes. Yeah. So as everybody knows, I came back to the 747 back in March. So I did that. There was a little bit of a hurry to come back because if I had stayed on the 76 a little bit longer, I would have had to have gone through the entire 747 course again. And I tell you, that is one bear of a course. Yeah, so we did the short course, which was nice. Just a couple of fixed-based training device sessions for to get your flows down again. Because since I last flew the 747, the standard operating procedures changed a little bit here and there. New procedures were adopted. Flows changed. Anyway, so you have to do that on an FTD versus using the full flight sim for that, because obviously full flight sim it's a lot more expensive, and other people need to use it for recurrent training and such. So did the FTD sessions, went to the sim. I think it was 1, 2, 3. It was 4 full flight sessions with the recommend ride and then the check ride. So altogether, just 6 sessions from the first full flight to the check ride, which is it's pretty obliged, pretty quick. Everything obviously worked out fine. Went on to initial operating experience, which was nice. So I flew with a check pilot, instructor pilot the first couple of times. Did a flight down to Campinas, down to Brazil, and then ended up in Los Angeles. Then flew my first Dash 8, 74-8 flight from LA over to Osan, just south of Seoul. It's an air base out there in South Korea. And then continued on. I think I did a flight over to China, ended up in Anchorage, and then and then my last my check ride actually was my PM leg was from Memphis over to Honolulu, and then my check ride proper line check was from Honolulu back to Memphis, which was very nice. So after that, had to fly 100 hours PIC. Pilot and command time to get released from what's called high minimums, which basically means that you can't shoot Category 3 approaches, autolands, certain weather criteria that needs to be met for me to be able to do the flight legally under high mins category. So once I have those 100 hours PIC time, I'm released from high mins, and now I'm completely just a regular line pilot. So after that, it's been busy. Been doing a lot of Asia stuff, like I talked about earlier today. A lot of Hong Kong flying, which is great because it's one of my favorite layovers. Got to go back to Kazakhstan a couple of weeks ago, which was nice. We used to fly through there quite a bit, but never laid over there. This last time we actually got to lay over there for a couple of days. And then went on to where did we go? Zaragoza, Spain, which southern Spain this time of year is just phenomenal. So I spent some time there, but just overall been busy. Coming up on my first recurrent here at the end of the month. So it's been 6 months since I got checked out. Going down to Miami for that as usual, and then on the home front, been busy here as well. The house getting worked on, things with the family and the dogs and everything is fine, and it's been good. Just very, very, very busy, but good.
Yeah, it is really, really great to see you, Rick. And I know a lot has probably happened that you kind of glossed over, but that's the gist of it. And but yeah, so we're just thrilled that you're back with us today on the show. And I know you were very busy.
Yeah, and I need to figure out a way to because now that I'm going back to flying international, around the world stuff, and I've shrunk my kit, the kind of the number of things I carry around on my trips, and so I need to figure out I guess an efficient way of an efficient setup for us to be able to do this while I'm on the road, because otherwise it's
I'm thinking that that's like what I love about all this is like figuring out all the kit for doing this. So we'll come up with some awesome setup that doesn't take up a lot of space and have a lot of weight.
I like it.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. Well, thank you for getting us up to date there, Rick. And
yes, sir.
I guess let's see. Let me do this. Lily in our chat room is with us right now, and she contacted me about a week ago and asked if I might promote something on our show today, something that is happening next week in Orlando. So let's see, it's the Latino Pilots Association is a nonprofit organization that was founded in 2015 by 5 friends attending Jacksonville University. Our aim is to inspire, develop, and support the Latino aerospace and aviation communities, further eliminating socioeconomic barriers through representation, financial support, and education and mentorship. Today we have over 1,900 active members. The LPA is thrilled to invite your podcast audience, so people, listen up. The first annual Latin Aerospace Industry Expo, presented by United Airlines on September 15, 2023, at the stunning Gaylord Palms Resort and Convention Center, located in Kissimmee, Florida. Give me a kiss. Kissimmee, I guess, is the way you pronounce that.
It's a great convention center. I've actually been to a conference there, believe it or not.
Oh, has it?
With all the conferencing I do.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the conferencing. Yeah, that's right.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's no skiing around there, though. I don't understand.
Water skiing.
No, but there's Disney World, so
fair enough.
It's fine.
Join us in kicking off the beginning of National Hispanic Heritage Month 2023, which runs from September 15 through October 15, by spending it at the inaugural flagship event of the LPA. The Legacy Airlines will be at our event doing meet and greets. So this is, by the way, you're on the list because, Acme is a Legacy airline, Nick. And Nick, you had some time I could see in your calendar. So you're going to be representing us for the first couple of days here at the event. I just haven't told you yet. And there's an extensive list of, let's see, so I should probably start over. The Legacy Airlines will be at our event doing meet and greets, so this is a great opportunity for pilots and those in the aviation industry to come and network. There is an extensive list of other exhibitors on our website. This is an event you don't want to miss. And the itinerary is September 14, the LPA Welcome Cocktail Reception sponsored by Southwest Airlines, and destination 225 degrees.
Why am I going to all these things?
Because, well, you're the one that drinks the best of all of us.
Okay, fair enough.
And that's from 6:30 to 9. September 15, the Latin Aerospace Industry Expo presented by United Airlines, 9 a.m. to 4:30. And then there's a reception, a gala celebration. From 7:30, I guess, that evening till late, it says, or early maybe. September 16, Kissimmee Gateway Airport and LPA Food Truck Fly-In event from 10 to 3. Fees for the Latin Aerospace Expo are on this link. And, hey, I'll have a special discount code. It'll be completely free for you. Just contact me. No, I'm just kidding. She didn't give me a special discount code. So we're going to have some links that we'll put in the show notes if you guys want to check this out for the fees and registration and other details relating to the event. There's a nice website here, latinopilot.org, www.latinopilot.org. If you have any questions about the event, email us at lpa-events@latinopilot.org. And again, this is from Lily. Again, she's in our live audience right now. Liliana de la Cruz Sanchez. She's the regional team lead, Pacific Latino Pilots Association. And let's see, what is she saying here? She is saying it's to network and meet potential employers. So I would imagine, so people out there that are trying to get a job in the aviation industry are probably mostly focused on airlines, I'm guessing. Correct, Lily? Would be this would be a good place to go and meet some people and get people to know who you are, put a face with the name, and try to get on with one of these great
might be able to
vendors.
Put your CV in the hands of your potential employer.
Exactly.
Yep.
Aviation is very, very small community, and it's all about networking. That's how I got my first instructor job. That's how I got my first mechanic job, my first airline pilot job. It's all about networking. So these events are instrumental in advancing your career as an airline pilot.
Not to mention, who doesn't like to go to a party, right?
Exactly.
Lily says that mostly airlines are there, but airframe and power plant, I guess, mechanics kind of stuff, engineering, as well as air traffic control. There you go.
Yeah,
So
and Liliana, I would love to go, but I'll be on the wrong side of the world. But I'm sure it's going to be a fantastic event.
Yes. So, So we'll mention it again on our next show, but only it'll probably only be effective for those that are listening and watching live when we record next week.
Mm-hmm.
But we were just happy that we were able to say something about it on this show, and hopefully somebody out there will hear this and get excited about it and show up.
What I can do if you want is I can just send me the link. I can retweet it, and we can all retweet it. And reach
What
more
you're
people.
on? You're on X, what used to be called Twitter.
Oh yeah, now it's called X, right? Yeah. So
Yeah, and are you? And you have some followers?
No, not
Not
that
too many?
many, but I'll try my best. Oh, Pete, yeah, Pete will definitely retweet it. He's got quite the reach.
Oh yeah, Post-it Note Pete. If you're not sure what that's all about,
I live in his shadow, his square shadow.
Tell us about Post-it Note Pete. Post-it Note.
Oh, Post-it Pete. He's my partner in crime. So it's funny because as you progress as an airline pilot, and really in any craft, you try to pick up, aspects and things from different people, things that you like, things that you see as useful. And the Post-it thing is something I picked up from a captain some years ago. And the funny thing is that I see my early Post-its compared to what I have now. The amount of information that has been added to the Post-it to give me the type of stuff that I need for my day-to-day operation. It's funny because it used to be just the flight number to all the stuff I have on there now, and that's part of my pre-flight routine, my pre-flight. So you just sit down, you get the paperwork from the company, and you write down obviously the flight number, time of departure, time of arrival, the runway that you're going to use, the engine failure procedure, the number of people on board, so that if anything happens, you have that information right in front of you. You don't have to go searching for it, and you don't have to go thinking about it. It's all right there. So that's what Pete does. And he's been doing a great job over the last.
Yeah, but Pete is actually, he's come to life. This paper.
He has. Yeah. He's got quite the following, Pete. He really is. You should see his TikToks. Those are for for the older crowd, but he's
more mature.
Yeah, exactly. Pete after dark. Pete after 10. No, but it's great stuff. And Pete is he's my companion on the road, so it's good stuff.
His whatever it is now, X or Twitter profile pic, it reminds me a lot of, you remember like the paperclip from like Microsoft?
Oh, yeah.
I imagine his like personality being very like bouncy like that. You like bounce across the screen and like smile. And
It depends on the color of the Post-it. If it's a yellow one, then he's happy. If it's the orange one, he's been out on the beach too long. The dark blue one, he's kind of cold. So that's kind of how I think of it in my head. But he's a good dude. Pete's a bro.
All right, yeah, check it out. We'll have some links to that in on the Twixter in our show notes. All right, very good. Well, no, before we do that, I'd like to continue with some other information that I wanted to get out there. Mentioned it on the last episode. Paul Juracek in Toronto, his Toronto meetup, also on Friday, September 15, but in a different area of North America, up there in Toronto. At the craft beer market, and he is asking people, if you're going to use the email, which we'll have in the show notes, to put APG Meetup somewhere in the subject line of the email. He doesn't want to miss any emails. And he also has a telephone number that you can use to contact him, and we'll put that in the show notes as well, so that they can also get a hold of him through Facebook Messenger. So anyway, that's still on for the end of next week as well. So I just wanted to make sure we mentioned that again. And Steph, it's been a while since we've had you on as well. So what have you been up to?
Yeah, I was looking back because I couldn't remember, so I would know what to talk to you about in my Cliff Notes version of my life. If I can even remember half the things that have happened in the past 2 weeks. But I think the last show I was on, was that 581? That was like August 16th or something that we recorded that. Right before I went to, was up in Cape Cod for a run.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I shared those details. But yeah, I had a nice weekend up in Cape Cod with my running coach and a couple of teammates. Ran the Falmouth road race, which is an interesting 7-mile race, which is not
Jeff
standard.
has a race? Really?
Yeah, Jeff Falmouth? No.
Wow.
Very close. I probably am not pronouncing it with the correct, New England, like Massachusetts, Cape Cod accent. I can't do that accent. But yeah, it was great. It was very nice weather up there. It was in the mid upper 70s the whole time, which was a nice departure from here. It's been in the 90s. Summer has not quit yet here. But had a nice weekend hanging out with my running coach who lives up in the Boston area, a couple of other teammates. One came up from Orlando to run, one from New Jersey. It's a pretty well-known race, surprisingly, for being an odd distance. It's been around for 51 years. And as best I can tell, it began as a race between two bars. So my kind of race right there.
Yeah.
Starts at one bar and ends at
Nice.
another bar. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. And then the next 2 weeks, man, I just have been clobbered by work meetings mostly. There was a lot of stuff happening after hours in terms of, just everything seems to kind of happen all at once. There's always quarterly meetings for, our division and then department and then a full group meeting. And they just were happening like one after another, like a Tuesday, Thursday, and the following Tuesday. And it just got busy. So my apologies for being absent. Did a little bit of flying in the meantime on the weekends. Still managed to squeeze some of that in. I actually, last weekend I flew. Just airplane situation wise, we have a couple of caravans. One we've been loaning out to other drop zones that have been in need of airplanes. Seems to always happen that someone's got an airplane in maintenance for something, but having the extra one means that I get to do some flying even when it's not my turn to do so because they need an extra pilot. So did some of that this past weekend. And the weekend before that, they thought they were going to need me for to be able to fly 2 airplanes at our drop zone. And it ended up not being quite that busy leading up to the holiday. So I got to do some fun jumps instead. And that was very nice as well, including a wingsuit rodeo. That was a first for me. If anyone wants to know what that is.
Did you get in a wingsuit?
No, I did not get in a wingsuit. Basically, as we're leaving, so my friend Reese was in his wingsuit. Other friend Trent wingsuiting as well, taking some video for us. And as we leave the airplane, basically I'm holding on to Reese's skydiving rig as best I can, and we try and leave the airplane at the same time. And then basically I'm riding on the back of his wingsuit down through about 5,000, 6,000 feet.
How was that?
It was super fun.
I
had a great
bet
time.
it was.
Excellent. What kind of a saddle do you use?
No. Skydiving rig. However comfortable the fancy parachute backpack is.
Wow.
But yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Amazing.
Had a couple of really fun jumps 2 weekends ago, so that was good.
Nice.
Probably flying again this weekend coming up. Actually, I know I am because I'm actually on the schedule to fly this weekend. Not sure which of our caravans I'll be flying. Depends on who else needs an airplane this weekend. And been out in the sun a lot, like you were saying at the beginning of the show. Have not been at the beach. That's what all my patients want to know, because I guess that's the only way people get sun around here is they take a vacation to the beach. But aside from Cape Cod, which I don't know if that really counts as the beach, just been outside doing lots of things.
Excellent.
Trying to think if there's anything else. I don't think so. I think that about sums it up.
Well, Captain Nick, you've been outside a lot. Look at the sun on your face. What have you been up to?
Indeed, yeah. The Handsome Berks Cup. It was. We've had a really hot spell and bright sunshine, and the temperature's been, I guess, around 30 degrees centigrade. That's in the mid to high 80s.
86.
There you go, Fahrenheiter. And we played in a bowling match. It took quite a while to play this match. It's the culmination of a big knockout competition through Hampshire and Berkshire. And as we have for the last 2 years, our club won it again. So really pleased with that. We put up a great performance coming back from an early slump to finally pip them by a total of only 11 shots, which was actually just shows how tight it was. Anyway, That was great fun. Enjoyed that. And that's where the sunburn came from, because I didn't think to put any suntan cream on. But the other thing is the forgotten video. So I found a video from way back when Jeff came to the UK to watch the British Grand Prix, Formula One, and he had a go at driving a Formula One motor car. I thought you'd perhaps like to watch this.
Great. Can't wait.
Why didn't you tell me you were filming? I would have sucked my gut in.
Have you found Jeff's button yet?
Yeah, it's all good.
Well done.
All you've got to do is accelerate, brake, and then steer.
Really, I don't have to worry about any of the other
None
buttons?
of the buttons.
Oh, that's
So,
good.
yeah. So you can pop the headset on if you want to listen to it.
What does that do?
You can just hear the car and the...
Okay.
Yeah, and then just click that one when you're ready to go and it should
Oh,
start.
okay.
Right. Oh, nice one. Oh,
I mean,
look
I've seen
out.
Jeff's driving.
Get out of the way.
This looks familiar.
I'm not a bad
What am I
driver,
doing?
I know.
but not with Formula One.
We
I'm not a
can't
good
tell
driver.
you, Jeff.
Holy crap. Oh, no. Where am I going?
Wow.
Did they not provide a brake pedal?
Yeah, there's a
Pretend
brake
you're
pedal on
trying
the
to take
left.
off, Jeff.
Okay.
It's not as easy as it looks. Or is it not as hard as it looks? I don't know.
Oh, that's no good.
It's harder than it looks. That's what she said. That's what he said. Yeah, it's not distracting at all. Nick taking all these
Oh, somebody hit me.
videos of me.
Oh, somebody hit you.
Yeah.
As for yeah, make
I
the
just-
thing.
Look, I'm almost up with bow ties.
He's probably lapped you 2 times.
Quit taking pictures of me. See?
Hooray!
Now let's see some footage of you doing the same thing, Nick. You're muted. You're muted still. There we go.
Sorry, I was chatting around something another channel. No, I didn't want to embarrass you, old chap. That was fine. Anyway, it was good fun.
Really?
It was.
Oh.
But it took me for some persuading to get you into the chair, but I thought you quite enjoyed it once you were in there.
No, I didn't. I didn't enjoy that at all. And I told you I didn't want to do it specifically because I knew that this would happen. What you just did. Show
Yeah,
me
well,
trying to drive a Formula One car, and
life's a bitch. Then you die.
that experience in the Loser Cruiser paid off, according to Tim Van Ram. Yeah, no, not really.
Nicely
It didn't
done.
pay off at all.
So that's it for me. Sorry, that's it.
Yeah, let's do. Let's talk about cover
I
art.
mentioned that. An
Yeah.
interesting title, Tea for the Tillerman, which of course is Cat Stevens' album and name of a song. So we tried to do something Cat Stevensy. So it's very loosely based on the on the cover art for that album. I noticed that Liz is helping the cat with it, which has blue eyes and a sort of a white moustache, a bit like someone I know who's got his hand on the tiller. But Liz is also helping out in the tiller there as well. Oh well, the image is gone, but not to worry. That's right. And in the
we're
background
trying to
is
coordinate something in the background here, and it's not working very well. I'm going to show the image, and that way we can zoom in and all that kind of stuff.
all right. Okay.
So just stand by. Let me get that shared. You know, if we had done a rehearsal for the show, this would have been a lot
I
smoother.
thought this was the rehearsal.
Well, it kind of is.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So go ahead and share that, Liz. Okay. Now.
Oh, you see the whole thing there. Yes.
Yes.
In the background's a crashed helicopter, which was part of the news. And if you're interested in trying to find the number, did you find it, Liz? No, Liz couldn't find it.
Didn't either.
Look at the flag and the corner of the building just underneath the M of Tillerman.
Okay.
You can zoom in there.
Oh, I see APG on the flag.
Yeah, well, go up and right a bit. So
Okay,
APG is in the flag. And
Up
have you
and
worked
right.
out?
Oh, I see it right there.
So APG is on the flag, and there you go. Can you now see the number?
Except for the
On
show
that?
was 584, I thought. No, I'm just kidding. It was 584.
Oh, there it is. I see it now.
Oh, yeah,
Wow,
there
I
you
was
go.
not
It's
looking in the right place at all.
and that bit of tatty old rag there. So that was harder than usual, that one. So
Yeah, it was.
sorry if you couldn't find that.
Yeah, don't make it. Oh, look, Liz. I didn't know that was Liz next to
Yeah, it
Stephen.
says Liz on her hat. That's why it's Liz helping you with the tiller.
Ah,
And she's
I
got
see.
a really bad expression on her face. She's very naughty.
Yeah, well, that's a normal expression she has. Because when she's on camera, then she's just all smiles.
Oh, yeah.
But this is the way she normally looks. And then, wait, before you do, is this the, what? Okay. Yep, I've zoomed in. That's what we thought we were still showing there. This is a close-up of the tiller on the Twin Otter.
The Otter. I was going to say, that looks suspiciously like an Otter tiller, and I suspect that you guys talked about that incident last show. Is that what?
Yep.
Yep.
Well, that's
There's some
right.
feedback related to that coming up as well. So.
Yep.
Excellent.
We do. All right. Thanks again, Nick and Mid-Journey for the artwork.
Yeah, Mid-Journey, Photoshop and their equivalent, and a whole bunch of other stuff too. There are
Oh, wow.
many layers in that one.
Folks, when Captain Nick does these cover art masterpieces, it's more than just asking Mid-Journey to draw something for you. I think it's a lot more involved than
Oh, well,
that.
it is. Otherwise, it's not very personalized.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we got that. I guess maybe now, although Liz is leaving, let's see if we can. No, I can't control it. I was going to say we could do the coffee fund, but we're going to have to wait until Liz comes back.
Did you have any getting to know you?
Oh, yeah, other than the announcements for the Latino Pilots Association event and Paul's Toronto meetup, both of those the end of next week. For me, I've just been doing a lot of singing, and I was invited over. Oh, Labor Day! I was invited over to my choir director's family's celebration for Labor Day. Had some nice ribeye steaks. Well, I only had one, but there were more than one. There was more than one there. They only gave me one. And some other good food, and it was great. Her family, most of her family was there, and so it was a lot of fun hanging out with them. So that was my big thing, I guess, for the week. And as most of you know, I'm going to be fully retired soon, and not sure exactly when yet, but it's probably going to be sooner rather than later. And I'm trying to get myself transitioned properly for full retirement by not doing a heck of a lot of flying right now. So
ease right on into it.
I'm trying to ease into it. Yes. Yep. So that's it for me. And I was going to do the coffee fund now, but we had to wait till you come back, Liz. No problem. Here we go. Boom. Coffee fund. Now let's all sing together. Yes, even you, Steph.
No thanks.
I love coffee. I love tea. I love the APG community. Coffee and tea and the Java and me. A cup, a cup, a cup, a cup, a cup. Oh, yeah, the Coffee Fund. It's your way to support our show financially. Come on, you know you want to. Don't resist. A couple different ways you can do it. One is the Coffee Fund OG method, the Coffee Fund Classic. And since the last show, we have two folks who use that mechanism, Richard Adams and Mazuz Karim. Mazuz was in the chat room earlier? Okay, awesome. And I believe both Rich and Mazuz are citizens of the UK. Uh-oh, what's happening?
Why didn't you tell me you were filming? I would have...
Hello? What? I think that must be Nick playing around or something. I don't know. No, he's not seated in his position. What happened there? Okay. Well, I don't like it. So we're going to do this. We're going to stop. And we'll we'll put it in reverse. And hey, guess what time it is? It's time for the Coffee Fund.
Johnny, how much more coffee?
No thanks.
I love coffee. I love tea. I love the APG community. Coffee and tea and the Java and me. A cup, a cup, a cup, a cup, a cup. Oh yeah, the Coffee Fund. Your way, dear listener, to support the show financially. And a couple of different ways to do that. The first is the OG, the Coffee Fund Classic method. And since our last episode, we have two gentlemen, I think both from the UK, Richard Adams and Mazuz Karim. And Mazuz was in our chat room, or is in our chat room. Perhaps he's still there. So thank you to you both for using that Coffee Fund Classic method. And the other way to support the show is to become a patron of the show via patreon.com. And since the last episode, we have a new producer, Kyle Hathaway, and Derek Smith. We call him Grinner, right? He was a producer, and now he's an executive producer. So, yay! So there's some applause, and let's do a noisemaker. Yay! So, thank you so much for that. And I'm going to have to do that because that's kind of obnoxious. All right. And so if you want to find out more about the Coffee Fund, head over to airlinepilotguy.com/coffee. You'll be glad you did, and we will too.
Captain, incoming message.
Time for a beer. I don't have a beer.
I had to get another one because it
I
doesn't taste very good in a glass. Or maybe it was just because it was so foamy and shaken. I don't know. This one tastes a little better.
Okay. Well, that's good. Well, hand me one, please.
Here.
Right here.
Wait.
Thank you.
Hold on. Yeah. Let's wait. Try that again.
Okay.
I had to figure out which.
Oh, wait a minute. That's not coffee.
The old
I mean, that's not beer.
The old bait and switch.
Sorry, everybody.
Right. Yeah, no problem. No problem.
Your timing was good.
Good timing on your part.
Excellent.
What's that?
Timing is everything.
Let's see. 3A. Okay.
Oh.
All right. So let's start off with our feedback segment with this feedback from... I'm sorry, I clicked on the wrong note. From Vernon Tryon in Fort Morgan, Colorado. He sent us some audio feedback.
Good morning, Captain Jeff and crew. This is Vernon Tryon. Listening to 556, I hear that you think I live in Fort Collins, near that Horsetooth Reservoir 172 entrance in deal. And actually, I'm in Fort Morgan, Colorado, and according to my maps, I'm about 88 miles from Horsetooth Reservoir. I have been there in my life, but interestingly enough, I didn't hear about that 172 incident on the news. I heard about it from you all at APG. And that, unrelated to that, is a question I've been meaning to pose for Miami Rick for a long, long time. And there was mention of him flying 747s and the Dreamlifter. And I'm curious if the Dreamlifter has any special certification since it's so highly modified. And when you do modifications in general aviation aircraft or some aircraft that's very much out of the realm of its original certification, that it probably has an experimental sticker on it. And I'm wondering with the large aircraft like the Dreamlifter, if that's a specially certified airplane or what extra it took for not only his training but the certification of the aircraft, since I think you mentioned there's only 4 of them. So that's a question I've been wanting to ask for a long time, and since I wanted to correct the place of my residence, I thought I'd include both, and appreciate your efforts and continued work on this your retirement year, and look forward to hearing more. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Again, that was Vernon Tryon, retired CFI, former air traffic controller at Burbank, yes, in about 1973. And he did talk to Gulfstream Model 159, November 234, Mickey Mouse. Remember, we talked about that. I don't know, it was probably a year or more ago we talked about that. And again, he was from Fort Collins, Colorado. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Fort Morgan, Colorado. So sorry we got that mixed up. Fort something, Colorado. That's what we're going to call it. All right. And so anything to answer there? I mean, what do you think about Vernon's audio feedback, Rick?
Yeah, as far as flying the Dreamlifter, there's no additional training. It's a run-of-the-mill Dash 400. Obviously, it's heavily modified. But as far as flying it and operating it, there really is no difference between that and just a regular Dash 400 passenger, domestic, or freighter jet. There are a couple of things that you do need to keep in mind, and they obviously are listed in the flight crew training manual for that particular airplane. And the one that comes to mind is probably the most obvious one is the reduced crosswind capability on that airplane, because it has such a large cross section, that area there. It flies, I would say, identically to a Dash 400. It is a lot louder, not because of the shape of the airplane itself, but because when the airplane was modified, they kept all 3 air conditioning packs intact so that they didn't have to mess with the environmental control system and recertify that. So the byproduct of that is that you have the bleed air and all that air from the air conditioning packs pressurizing a very, very small portion of the jet, which is only the nose section of the airplane, because where you carry the cargo, the freight, the large volume freight, that whole area is unpressurized, because it would be, well, one, you're not carrying anything that needs to be temperature controlled or that you need pressurization for. You're just basically carrying airplane parts, and so you don't need to pressurize that. And then number 2 would be it wouldn't be very practical to pressurize 65,000 cubic feet of area, right? So there's really no need to doing that. But like I said, they didn't want to have to mess with the ECS, and so they kept all 3 packs on. And so you have air from 3 air conditioning packs pressurizing a very, very small portion of the airplane. So that makes the airplane very, very loud. It does cruise slightly slower. A regular, Dash 400 freighter cruises at about 8.4 to 8.6, Mach 8.4 to Mach 8.6, on average, using average cost indices. The Dreamlifter cruises at about 8.1 to 8.2, so it's slightly slower. I mean, you're still going over 8 miles a minute on that.
What a slowpoke!
I know. But
that's fast.
0.82 for that thing, even though it's so grotesque, it's still pretty fast for an airplane that
back in the
shape.
90s, I mean, all the jets were flying 0.82 to 0.85. I mean, that was not uncommon at all.
Yeah.
Newer generation, to save fuel, they decided to slow it down a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, the 1011 was 8.5, 8.6, something like that.
Yep,
7.2
sure
was 8.4.
Yep.
And then the 7.4, now that Concorde has been retired for a couple of years now, it regained the title of the fastest commercial airplane out there, having an MMO of Mach decimal 9.2. I've personally taken it to Mach decimal 9.1 on a trip from on a short leg from Sydney to Melbourne. Yeah, well, it was ATC asked us if we could give them best forward speed, and I said, can do.
Oh yeah.
So 0.91 it was. So, but going back to the Dreamlifter, it flies exactly the same, lands exactly the same. There's no additional training. It's like I said, it's part of your Dash 400 type rating, and there is no. It's actually a lot simpler to operate because there are things on the Dreamlifter that you don't. A lot of things on the Dreamlifter that you do have on regular Dash 400s. Like one that comes to mind perhaps is I don't know, like a cargo fire. It's not, cargo fires are not an issue on the Dreamlifter because none of the stuff that we carry on the Dreamlifter is flammable. So it's a lot easier to operate. The thing with the Dreamlifter though is that you can't just take it anywhere. You have to fly it to places where it can be properly handled because that big swing tail needs a special jig and truck and support to be opened and closed. Another thing that comes to mind is the fact that the Dreamlifter does not have an APU, an auxiliary power unit, because that usually sits in the tail cone of the aircraft, and that whole area has been, emptied out to make room for freight, large volume freight, and so you do need a lot of ground support for that. As far as electrical power and bleed air goes to start engines and such. But other than that, it's just a regular run-of-the-mill Dash 400. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, it's just big and bloated.
Yeah.
And you're not muted. Never mind. No, you are muted. I don't know what I'm saying. I got confused. All right. Well, good. I'm glad that we held that for you, Rick, and
Yes,
you were
sir.
able to answer the question or questions from Vernon. And as always, Vernon, we do appreciate it. And let's continue with this next one. Oh, this is a tough one. This is from Rico Van Dyke. He has a special question for Rick. He says, I'm looking for a balanced solution here. How much of the Ibiza pool time should I sacrifice for ironing? Thanks. Okay, there's a picture of Rico here. And he knows that Rick is Miami Rick is the expert ironer on the crew. And what do you think? He's how much time should he spend ironing, and how much time should he spend out there by the pool?
Well, two things there. One is how good are you at your creases and them staying the way you want them, and then number two, how shiny can you get your shoes to look before showtime? So you have to factor in shoe shine time in that. And so
I'm asking a question here as a complete beginner in this. Why can't you iron your shirt by the pool?
Well, that's like an advanced maneuver.
That's
you have
advanced.
to have a lot of
That's
confidence in
advanced.
your ironing skills to
See,
take
I'm nowhere near that level yet.
to take
And
the
I've been doing
entire
this for a
setup
long
out to the
time.
pool.
Yeah.
Also, you have to have an outlet nearby. I don't know.
Yeah.
And
no,
I
once-
probably would
Put
stay
your shoes
back.
there, couldn't you?
Once you get really good at it,
edge. You don't want to
yeah. Once you get really good at it, you scuba dive and you do it underwater. And
Special
the
steam
electrics would be a
producing,
problem there. I can see that one.
So in that case, you have to be careful that you don't go too deep because you might have decompression sickness because you're about to go flying. So that's something else to keep in mind there. So you don't want to go too crazy.
That forget that little requirement there to have Our company had 24 hours, and you had to dive no deeper than. Well, you certainly didn't need you weren't allowed to dive so deep. You needed decompression stop. So a non-decompressed dive, 24 hours before you flew.
Yeah,
People would pay lip service to that.
Yeah, we have a lot of the senior guys and gals that can hold proper Hawaii lines. They travel around with their scuba gear, and they just go scuba diving and just diving, doing their thing there, and in northern Australia as well. Very, very popular to go up there in the Great Barrier Reef and enjoy that stuff.
Well, that Great Barrier Reef, you can have a great dive and no foot deeper than 12 feet.
Exactly. Permanent snorkeling, which that would take care of that issue. But I don't know. Just me and carrying extra stuff. I don't know. If I would.
So, maybe Rico, you can give us some more feedback and let us know what your solution has been.
I'm not too sure about his
balance.
cable handling technique. Can you put this picture up again?
That's a question for Nev, actually. Can we forward that over to...
Having the cable between the fingers of the left hand,
Yeah.
I'm not too sure about that. I'd prefer to have it at the other side of the iron myself.
Yeah, not only that, but I personally, the way I iron my shirts is I use and some ironing boards you can't do this because they have the stupid the iron I guess platform there where you rest the iron in between your position in the shirt. But what I personally like to do is I like to use the 90-degree side of it. There you go. So I use the 90-degree side of it, and then I tuck the shoulder on the 90-degree angle and pull tight, and then use that to hold the shirt while I'm ironing. Oh my God, look at that hair! I look like a hippie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you can just use
it's being affected by the steam. You're in a steamy room.
Yeah, exactly. So
you can just use my ironing technique.
What's that?
Don't
have one.
or Captain Nick's technique is leaving your uniform shirt in the
dryer,
taking a hot steam.
I'm sorry, it's so loud. I have no control over the volume. Here's another angle. The Sahara Desert.
Classic.
Is that right?
I love the hat.
It looks like Desert Southwest or something.
Yeah, it doesn't look like the Sahara, you're right. That looks like, Sedona area or something.
Yeah,
There you go.
He's in Rick's backyard.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I love this one.
He's ironing on his way to Sturgis.
If you're just listening to this, podcast listeners, you should pause
I'm sorry.
check out the video at whatever time mark this is and, for Captain Nick's reenactment of his extreme ironing skills.
We had to play that again because he put so much work into that.
He did.
Enough of that.
Yeah, my other ironing technique is just leave everything in the dryer. Just never take it out, and then just hit start for a few minutes, and you're good to go.
Or the stuff that you have to iron, just throw it away and go to the store and buy another one.
If I have to iron it, it doesn't belong in my house. It doesn't belong as part of my wardrobe. Same goes for anything that can't go in the dishwasher. Not doing it.
Paper plates.
There you go.
Bamboo forks.
Basically.
That kind of thing. Yeah. All right. Very good. Well, shall we move on, Liz?
Please.
All right. Let's go to, we're going to skip 3C. Okay. Let's do that one. And this is, let's see, from Chris. He says, near Chris. It was a near Chris, not a near miss. Hi, crew. Following the feedback from Chris Postal on APG 582, I thought I should confirm it was indeed I who came to the great slightly northern meetup in the F1 Cars t-shirt. Glad to see you made it over the 50% threshold in the end. Yes. And man, I could go so many places with that one. I was listening to the episode on an epic journey back from Oslo last Tuesday, having had my Monday flight canceled due to the air traffic control problems in the UK. Thankfully, within 15 minutes of the flight cancellation, SAS sent me a text with a new routing the next day, flying with them from Oslo to Copenhagen, then on to Hamburg, where I would pick up a BA flight back to Heathrow. The first 2 legs, despite being earlier than I would consider an acceptable time to be awake, went without a hitch. When I got to Hamburg, BA had no record of my booking, even though I could see it in the BA app. Oh, man. And they wouldn't issue me a boarding pass. So after some back and forth with BA and SAS, who couldn't communicate directly, that flight closed without me on board. The best SAS could offer me now was a 4-hour wait in Hamburg, followed by a couple of Lufthansa flights home via a quick connection in Frankfurt. With a slight delay to the first flight and the time it takes to get from the back of an A321, I departed the first aircraft just 30 minutes before the next one was due to depart. Cue a mad dash from a high-numbered A gate at the end of the pier, down and up many flights of stairs and through immigration, reaching the B gate for the next flight in just 19 minutes. Holy cow. That's got to be some kind of a record there. 19 minutes to do all that, including immigration? Wow.
Yeah, it's possible.
Oh, okay.
That's
Steph's
impressive.
going, that's no big deal.
Yeah, well, Steph's a runner.
Yeah, you got to sprint sometimes. It's worth it.
Okay. Back to Chris. If I thought it would be plain sailing from here, I was sorely mistaken. On my arrival into London, I discovered a lorry fire on the M25 would cause me further delays. After a circuitous route home, I finally arrived 17 hours after leaving the airport hotel that morning. Ooh. So a question for you guys, other than the considerations associated with any delays or cancellations, would the manual processing of flight plans require you to make changes to the way you operate? Or is that someone else's problem? Tailwinds. Chris Griggs. Griggs, not Chris Postal. Chris Griggs. And, well, it depends on who you ask, Chris. If you ask me, somebody else's problem.
Yeah, me too.
Same here. Somebody else's problem.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you do, Steph?
Flight planning did the flight plans and submitted them. We just got a copy of what they put in. So
right.
Not something we ever did.
Planning is 100% manual all the time. So, yeah.
A lot to be said doing it manually.
Yeah. Well, nowadays, the way it works for us, at least, I don't know if the same way for you, Jeff. On the operational flight plan, be it the electronic version that you get on the iPad, or the printed version, you get what's called a route uplink number, and so I punch that route uplink number to the route page in the flight management computer, the control display unit, and send, and then via ACARS, aircraft address and reporting system, the flight plan is uplinked to the FMC directly, and then all you have to do is activate it and execute it, and then you compare. Yeah, and then you compare the uplinked version to what's filed, because a lot of people will go, and this is something that I tell the newer FOs, because there are some things that you learn in the schoolhouse, which is obviously the basics and on how to operate the jet and all that stuff. But then there's other stuff that you learn on the line, and which is why initial operating experience is so important. And so I see a lot of newer FOs cross-checking the uplinked route with the first page of the OFP instead of flipping the page over and cross-checking the uplinked route with the ATC filing strip, which is what ATC has in their possession. And so you compare one with the other and make sure that they jive. And if they do, you do one more check, which is you compare the distance that the flight plan lists for that route versus the distance that the FMC predicts the route is going to take. And that has to be within a couple of miles of each other. And obviously, there's things here and there that can change that number. Whether or not you're also including the instrument departure procedure and the arrival procedure or not. But as long as those numbers are relatively close, then you're fine as far as distance and the route. And so that's kind of how we do it. But going back to your question, yes, it's absolutely dispatches. I wouldn't say problem, but it's in their purview.
Responsibility.
Exactly, the responsibility, and that's what they do.
And it's our responsibility to, as Rick just mentioned, to check it all and not only check the actual details of the refiled flight, but also if you, as the commander, agree that that's what you want to do. That's another aspect.
Oh, exactly right. Many a times I've turned down, and as I'm sure we all have, dispatches, I guess, suggestion to do something for one reason or another.
Right.
So nothing wrong with that.
Nope. Yeah, but it's extremely critical to make sure that all these things are matching up, because it's kind of not a good thing when you get the old Acme. Where are you going? Oh, we're going to Boston. Why? Oh, well, you're not flying the correct departure procedure. Oh, okay, sorry. But yeah, and then there's a lot of
you know what? And nowadays, it's there's a couple of new systems that are that have just come online here over the last couple of years that have been operating the heavy jets. One is the PDC, pre-departure clearance, and then the other one is you get your clearance directly via CPDLC, which is great. So all you do is you just log on here in the States as CPDLC controller pilot direct. Controller pilot data link communication. So it's basically a direct link between the pilot and the controller, kind of like a text message system there. It's really easy because all you really do is you log into CPDLC, which in the States is KUSA, and then the system knows when your clearance is available, and it'll tell you, it'll flash up on the screen, ATC message, it'll ding, and it'll show up on the ATC page of the control display unit, and you can even load it directly from the CPDLC message straight into the FMC and then cross-check that, and so that takes the keying factor where you can make a mistake, that error possibility out, and they just keep making it easier and easier and easier, and so. So PDC and CPDLC. CPDLC is used a lot overseas. I use CPDLC all over, in Japan, Southeast Asia, and China. Obviously, they do that. And in China nowadays, they went one step further, and they actually give you it's the standard instrument procedure to expect, the arrival procedure to expect via CPDLC, but they still haven't fix the London meters part, so I hope they get to that someday. So yeah, very, very fancy stuff.
So just to be sure, because we talk about CPDLC from time to time here when you're not here, and we always go, what does that stand for? Controller pilot. So let me write this down again. Controller pilot
data link
communication link communication. Thank you, because we never can figure out what that means. we know the practicality of what it means. We just don't know the actual acronym. So, thank you.
Yeah. It's controller pilot text messaging.
There you go, basically.
It's like a text message thing. Yeah, CPDLC.
Don't ask me. It's great stuff. It's mostly used en route. Canada uses it a lot, and the cool thing about it is that once you log in to it's called an ATSU, right? An Air Traffic Service Unit. Once you log to one, they will automatically sequence to the next one, to the next applicable one. So instead of you will get a frequency handoff via CPDLC, and all you have to do is check in on VHF or HF, whatever the case is, and let them know that you're CPDLC connected, and you never hear from ATC again. Everything is sent to you via text. It's just amazing.
That's nice.
I didn't realize it meant that. I thought it was crap pilot doesn't listen carefully.
that was the
controller's
original
point of view.
That was the original iteration. And then,
okay.
That's why they had to come up with it, because these pilots aren't listening to us anyway.
These crap
Might as well
pilots.
Yeah, the same guys that come up with the names for all the military operations were contracted for this, and they came up with that. Yeah.
The same guy that came up with the notices to air missions.
Don't get me started.
No, I know. I won't. All right. Very good. Well, we're glad that you made it home from Oslo, Chris Griggs. And again, apologies to misidentifying you. And let's move on with this sent in from a couple of our community members. Let's see, not Robert Tucker, but Robert, who lives in Tucker, Georgia, and also our Sonics driver, Mike Smith in Maynard, Massachusetts. Robert says, we knew a retired gas-guzzling mad dog would be called back up to experiment on how to squeeze. No, who knew a retired gas-guzzling mad dog would be called back up to experiment on how to squeeze more miles out of a tank of gas? And then from Mike Smith, after retirement, maybe you could become a test pilot. Who would be more qualified than you in this aircraft? Maybe they'll call it the badass dog. I like that. But no, I'm going to be in my badass RV instead. But thanks for thinking about me. This article is from Simple Flying. I think we kind of didn't we talk about this a little bit on a previous show, or maybe not? Maybe I just saw this and we had a quick discussion, but not on the show. So Boeing and NASA will collaborate to modify a McDonnell Douglas MD-90 to test the transonic truss-braced wing, the TTBW configuration, with testing expected to begin in 2028. Hell, I probably will be dead by then. This is an important milestone for NASA's Sustainable Flight Demonstrator project and a step towards achieving net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2050.
We're going green.
Eventually.
We're going green.
Oh yeah. And it's
Or
definitely going to work. Okay.
We'll go back to oil.
After nobody can fly. Okay, wait. I guess I need to hit this button to make it fade out. Okay. This is an important milestone for NASA's Sustainable Flight Demonstrator project. Oh, I just said that. The TTBW design offers a larger wingspan and higher aspect ratio, potentially reducing fuel consumption by up to 30% compared to existing narrow-body aircraft. Such innovations could shape the Thenger air travel. What is that word?
The what?
It says THENGER. The something air travel future of passe. What? I'm not understanding. Am I having a stroke? Are both sides of my face even?
I lost where you were in the article.
It's like after it's the summary, the third bullet point at the end of the sentence.
The could shape the,
such innovations
could shape the. You're not having a stroke. Whoever wrote this was having a stroke. The future of air travel. I'll just
no.
I think they asked ChatGPT to write their article for
to do their homework for them.
Yeah. And nobody looked at it before
the article.
That'll work.
Well, I'm just going to read it the way they wrote it. Such innovations could shape Thenger air travel future of passe.
Money.
Excellent. Well done.
Thank you. McDonnell Douglas MD-90 has touched down in Palm. Oh, this is the. Never mind. Forget that. There's a picture. Show the. That's a beautiful picture right there, Liz, that she's showing on the.
It's like kind of like a pterodactyl, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a nice looking pterodactyl.
Like a dinosaur.
But show the one how they messed it up with the stupid truss. I mean, this looks worse to me.
This doesn't even look. No,
not that one. The next one.
The computer-generated image. Yes.
That one.
Ugh. Well, that's the kind of whole point about it. If they want to build a wing that's very high aspect ratio, long and thin like a glider, so it will need a support. It'll need like a Cessna 150 does really. It's going to need a support. And that support can also be like a small lifting surface. to increase the lifts. So, the idea is that's the concept. That's what's going to give this huge improvement in fuel consumption. And of course, you look at the wing of the Mad Dog. It's a really long, thin wing. So actually, I think it's a great choice as an experimental aircraft to see what sort of improvement they can get.
Put that spar right behind the exhaust for the jet engine. They'll have to.
Well, I don't know how they're going to configure it. It's not like they're going to move the wing very much.
I feel like the E-flux goes over the top of that, and then obviously under the wing there. And I guess the higher velocity of that E-flux over that surface there, in a way,
could be some lift as well.
Yeah, some lift producing, I guess. Thing going on there, but it's certainly funky. It's weird looking.
Yeah, 30% seems to be a bit of a reach, but we'll see.
Yeah. Speaking of E-flux, that just looking at that picture makes me want to have some E-flux.
Yes.
All right.
Exactly.
But thank you both of you for thinking about me. But I'm okay. I'm good. Let's see. This is from Robert. Robert O, I think, maybe. Oh, that's Robert and Tucker. Okay. Let's see. You guys graciously covered my audio feedback with photos back in APG 485. Well, that was a long time ago. About my grandfather's World War II aviation relics. Included in this article was article from the Albany, Georgia Herald, where he happened to live in the same assisted living facility. This led me to research more recently when my cousin, who is in the Air Force now, was looking to find more info about the nose art that may have been on this plane. Mr. Tudor copied the newspaper article down on page 23 into his extensive newsletter attached here if anyone's interested. And let's see. So there was some information. There's a newsletter here. I don't know. Did we get any photos from? Yeah, we'll put this in the show notes. But it's a really interesting newsletter and some stories about the nose art on this airplane. Yep. I see a couple examples of it. Okay. So thanks, Robert, for sending that in, and that'll be in the show notes. And I think he sent in some other? Is that it for Roger feedback on this show, Liz? I thought there was something else in there, but I'm just doing a quick perusal.
Robert?
No, I'm just talking about. No, I'm sorry. I said Roger. I meant Robert. Robert. Okay. Very good. Let's continue then. Oh, that's what threw me off. I saw Radio Roger, and that's what my brain said to send to my mouth. This piece of feedback from Radio Roger. When history repeats itself. And this is, he's addressing this to Captain Nick. As soon as I heard your fantastic plane tale, When History Repeats Itself, about problems with the McDonnell Douglas DC-10, I immediately wanted to leave feedback. I don't know if you realize how insightful your comparison of the DC-10 to the Boeing 737 MAX is. Some have said that one of the factors in the MAX debacle was that Boeing's safety at all costs corporate culture was infected by McDonnell Douglas's less admirable culture after the two companies merged. I don't know if that's accurate, but it sounds plausible. The reckless development of the MAX is an aberration from Boeing's tradition of responsible design and manufacturing. Cheers, Roger, Radio Roger Stern. So that was a nice little note to you.
Oh, it was.
Captain.
And thank you very much, Roger, for that. Very kind of you. I mean, I wasn't the first to come up with that comparison between the two incidents, but, and when you read the subject and you delve into it, you can find all sorts of opinions, and that was one opinion that I latched onto. But I would just say that, there's 40 years between these two incidents, and I think the culture in McDonnell Douglas probably had changed. After all, they'd gone through, I suspect, several generations of the hierarchy of the company, because they do tend to move on relatively quickly. So, I know that a lot of people didn't like the idea that the McDonnell Douglas head honchos sort of came in and moved the head office away from its traditional place, right on the sort of workshop floor there in Seattle, and moved it down to Chicago, I think. And that separation took away a lot of the interaction between the bosses of the company and the workforce who were actually doing it, and the guys who could see, because it's their job as highly trained engineers, where potential problems were coming. They weren't getting that direct access to the guys that made the big decisions. That obviously was a problem. Whether it's was a continuation of the problem that had infected McDonnell Douglas back there 40 years earlier, I think that's a bit of a stretch, but I see exactly where you're coming from. So I understand that entirely. And thanks very much for the feedback.
No, that thing you just mentioned, Captain Nick, makes a lot of sense. I just reread Joe Sutter's autobiography, and he was talking about how when the 747 was in the project, the planning stages of it, it was, and I apologize, my dogs are, man.
No, that's part of the
we love
ambience.
it.
Yeah, the 747.
Yay, dogs!
The 747 was going to be. It was being. The idea was being floated to have the 747 be built in California instead of Seattle, when they were looking for a place to set up shop. And Joe Sutter was a huge proponent of keeping the 747 assembly plant local, because that way you could have the engineers and management, everything kind of co-located and solve problems in a more streamlined manner. And so it makes total sense, Nick, what you said, and it's no secret that and everybody that knows a little bit about the issue, about the situation, knows that there is a Boeing pre-McDonnell Douglas and post-McDonnell Douglas. And that's why I think, in my opinion, the last great Boeing ever built was the 777, because the 777 was built and entered service at 94 and then 95, and then after that you start getting into manufacturing issues, certification issues, and all sorts of problems, where there seems to be a disconnect between management and the daily operations at the various plants around the country. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And there are a lot of other questions brought up, and one of the recurrent ones was FAA oversight. It's fascinating that you're in a country that is so rich and powerful, and yet there are a lot of people who don't want to invest in government organizations, and I can understand that to a certain extent. But the FAA is ultimately a government organization, and if you don't fund them correctly and allow the expertise in there to be sufficiently paid and numerous enough to inspect aircraft manufacturing processes into the fine detail, you're going to end up with a situation where you're asking employees of a company to check their own company. There's no independent check unless you get those certification experts in there looking at individual manufacturers, all of them, when they produce new aircraft, to come up with an independent opinion on whether what they're doing is correct and safe. Asking your employees to do that on behalf of the FAA, to me, seems like, it's an obvious area of difficulty.
It's kind of a conflict of interest.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so.
Yeah, that's always been a criticism,
it's hard. It's going to be a very big organization if you have to put people in to inspect every department of an enormous company like Boeing.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks again, Radio Roger. I don't know if he's still with us in the live audience, but
thank you.
Yeah. All right. And let's move to item 7. I want to make sure we get this before Miami Rick leaves us. I just thought it was kind of a interesting story. This is from Merle. Drones made of cardboard. The clip source is from theconversation.com. Ukraine war. Australian-made cardboard drones used to attack Russian airfields show how innovation is key to modern warfare. Innovative design choices can have a massive impact on the theater of war, so it's important to understand the principles behind their development. Recent use of low-cost cardboard drones by Ukraine, supplied by Australia, to attack targets in Russia is a good example of how this can work. Australia has been supplying Ukraine with 100 of the drones per month from March this year as part of an aid package deal worth an estimated £15.7 million, following an agreement struck in July 2021, according to the Australian Army Defence Innovation Hub. Emerging technologies tend to override current technologies, and in turn, this generates competitive counter technologies. This circular relationship, driven by innovation, is often critical in warfare, as it can provide key technological advances. Let's see, let's get back to the drones thing. Conflicts in the future will be particularly shaped by drones, which will have implications for international relations, security, and defense. The Australian firm SciPac, an engineering and solutions company founded in 1992, created the Corvo Precision Payload Delivery System, the PPDS, for use in military law enforcement, border security, and emergency services, as well as food security, asset inspection, and search and rescue. Ukrainian forces reportedly used the PDDS cardboard drones in an attack on an airfield in Kursk Oblast in western Russia on August 27. This attack damaged a MiG-29 and 4 Su-30 fighter jets, 2 Panzer anti-aircraft missile launchers, gun systems, and an S-300 air surface-to-air missile defense system. Anyway, so I thought it was a pretty innovative use of cardboard, and in fact, so much so that I've decided, here I need to do this, I've decided to go ahead and contact them. I have a bunch of cardboard here in my studio that I need.
Side business for you.
Need to send.
Got your side gig there, Jeff? Is that
you could build a couple of tanks out of that.
The problem is he spends so much on Amazon stuff. It's all an Amazon box.
I just wanted to have fun with that. I'm wondering if they do have some kind of a relationship with UPS and Amazon. With these,
you can clearly tell those things are designed by Airbus. They look like Airbuses to me.
That's definitely a Boeing.
Look at that.
It's very reminiscent of the 747. Now I come to think about it.
Look at that nose.
The nose looks like it's shorts.
Yeah.
Oh, Rick doesn't know about my BS flag. You see what it says on it, Rick?
No, he can't. Thank God.
No. Oh, there we go. BS.
I got this from A320 Matt. And I said, thank you so much. I know what I'm going to use this for.
Boeing begins with B. You should use a Boeing flag.
Yeah, I've got an Airbus letter opener. I only use that to open bills.
Wow. He'll landworm in our live audience.
Boeing bills.
Better. Perun on YouTube has an excellent channel covering the Ukraine war. The latest video covers the air war. This drone is discussed. The cardboard dramatically reduces the radar signature of the drone. Yeah, probably eliminates it, right?
They use waxed cardboard so it doesn't get too wet when it goes flying.
Oh, brilliant.
That is brilliant.
I see our tax dollars are going to use there. Excellent.
Oh, yeah. Brilliant.
Well, the Australian tax dollars, but yeah.
Yeah, we'll probably be paying for it somehow.
Yeah, we always are. All right, guys.
So thank you very much. I'm sure the Aussies appreciate your generous offer.
Well, we appreciate them as well.
All right, guys.
Yeah,
no.
Like,
I'm sorry.
Rick,
go ahead.
No, I was going to say, hey, it looks like it's time for Rick to go. He's got an appointment, an important appointment there at home. So thanks so much for taking the time out to join us, Rick. We really missed you.
You got it, guys, and we'll be in touch. And you and I need to talk about setting up a go kit here to make this happen, right?
Absolutely, we'll do that. And make sure and don't shut the browser window just
you got
until it says your file's uploaded. Okay.
I'll leave it going. All right, guys, have a great rest of the show.
Bye, Ray.
Thank you very much, sir.
Bye.
All right. Let's see
back.
here.
No, he's gone.
No, he's gone. Let's see. James Graves Brown sent this to us from onemileatatime.com. He says, I absolutely love this idea. Well, what idea does James Graves Brown love? Well, Corendon? Is that how you pronounce that? Sure. Corendon? Come on. That's not a, is that a
it's Dutch?
Dutch carrier. Okay. So they add an A350 adults only seating zone. This article
Sounds like
says
a fun time. What are we doing in the adults only zone?
Well, I'm not sure if it's that much fun, but this is a pretty innovative concept, which I think many people would be happy to see spread to the other airlines. Leisure carrier Corendon Airlines will start flying between Amsterdam and Curaçao as of November 2023 using an Airbus A350-900 that's being leased from Spanish charter carrier World 2 Fly. That's World numeral 2 and then FLY. The plane has 432 seats. Wow, that's a lot of seats. And is in an all-economy configuration.
Look how thin those seats are as well.
I know.
So Amsterdam to Curaçao, that sounds unpleasant in those seats.
That sounds very long flight.
Time, yeah.
With this new long-haul service, the airline is trialing a new concept. Specifically, they're introducing an adults-only zone on board its flights for those 16 years of age and older. As the airline describes it, this is intended for travelers without children and for business travelers who want to work in a quiet environment. The airline also argues that this will have a positive impact for parents with children, as they don't have to worry about disturbing others as much. How does this concept work? Well, the forward cabin on the A350-900 between doors 1 and 2 will be designated seating area for adults. This consists of a total of 102 seats, including 9 extra legroom seats and 93 standard seats. As you might expect, there's a fee to sit in this space. The cost is €45 one way to sit in the adult zone in a standard seat and €100 one way to sit in the adult zone in an extra legroom seat. Here's how Atale Uslu, founder of Corendon Airlines, describes this initiative. Quote, on board our flights, we always strive to respond to the different needs of our customers. We are also the first Dutch airline to introduce the only adult zone because we cater trying to appeal to travelers looking for some extra peace of mind during their flight. We also believe that this can have a positive effect on parents traveling with small children. They can enjoy the flight without worrying if their children make more noise. Now, I would like to pose this question. Why couldn't the person writing this article just have put this quote there, and then I wouldn't have had to say it basically twice?
This is how all news articles are written these days.
I know. I don't like it.
We thought you'd got the idea by now, Jeff, but
I still haven't figured it out. We have a good comment here in our live audience from Tim Van Ram. When those Dutch kids kick the back of the seat with those wooden shoes, it's a real issue. No wonder they have adults only.
Well, very good. I like that. Yeah, and they're sticking their finger in the dikes as well.
In between the seats, it's like a makeshift
least,
dike.
Yeah, I don't know where the dikes sit.
And Neil is playing along as well. 432 seats. That cabin is really clogged.
Oh god.
Wait a minute. Let me play the rim shot. I know it's a little bit late, but that was
brilliant. Love it.
Yes,
love it.
Perfect. What a bunch of comedians in our live audience.
Indeed.
Oh man.
I'm here for it. Yeah, I guess, so I have two thoughts on this real quick. On a long flight like that and on such a large aircraft, if you are trying to, I don't know, do work of some sort on your vacation to Curaçao, and you would like to be away from families and children who are on their vacations, sure, but I don't think €45 is unreasonable to give yourself more distance and space. I think it probably only works on large aircraft, because on smaller aircraft, you're going to hear those kids screaming and yelling no matter what. Maybe you won't be kicked by their wooden clogs, but it's not going to help with the noise factor on smaller aircraft.
And 16-year-olds aren't really adults, and they're quite likely to be making as much noise as a 3-year-old.
21-year-olds who are getting beverages on the flight are not adults either.
God, yes, let's not go there.
Have you seen the size of the shoes, the clogs of those 15-year-olds and 16-year-olds?
Listen, if we're drinking out of the clogs, I'm all for it.
And bear in mind, paying an extra $100 for those front seats. For a start, you're right by the toilets, and they say you got people queuing right beside you, queuing for the loos. You got all the stinky smells every time someone opens the door. It really is a lousy position. You'll have a bulkhead in front, whereas normally you can put your feet under the seat ahead. Now you've got a flat bulkhead, so often the leg room is less usable than you would think. And in addition, any of your hand luggage that you might put under the seat in front, now that's no longer available. So unless you get it in the overhead lockers, what are you going to do with that? I mean, there are lots of disadvantages in having seats like they have suggested there right at the front of the cabin. And you're going to pay a lot of extra money, and you may find when you get there that it's less convenient than an ordinary seat.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I kind of imagine, would there be a lot of businessmen flying between Amsterdam and Curacao? Maybe?
That was part of my sarcastic questioning.
Yeah.
You just have to get your work done and have to be away from kids on your vacation to Curacao.
Right. Okay, I'm sorry.
Mean, maybe you do. I don't know. Some of us are multitaskers, or, we cram all of our
if you're going to take your laptop and work on the way to your holiday, that's a bit of a worry.
All right. Okay, well, let's go to the next one from our good friend Nigel in the UK, and he sent us some audio feedback, and this will be fun. Here we go.
Hello, APG crew. This is Hong Kong Nigel. Just thought I'd like to give you a little accuracy update check. First of all, I apologise for the rubbish quality of this. Somebody nicked my microphone lead when they were recording 577, so I'm definitely on standby equipment. Okay, accuracy check. Captain Nick in APG 581, he's referring to Gillian the Sicilian and Decima Manu and Sicily.
Gillian the Sicilian, she calls herself. And this is an interesting one. Here's what I like about Captain Nick and the rest of the APG crew. But she starts off with Nick because I think that he's her favorite. His commentary is always spot on. Wow.
Oh, how nice.
Very nice.
I like this lady.
We love you, and we love everybody out there.
I used to fly to Sicily quite often when I was in the Air Force. We used to fly out of Decima in Sicily. Always loved it.
His commentary is always spot on.
We used to fly out of Decima in Sicily.
He said the Decima Manu is in Sicily. That's the best I can do, by the way. Decima Manu is in Sardinia. And if Miss Liz is putting up the slides, for those that you can see, Sardinia is an island located south of Corsica, south of France, and it's orientated north-south. Sicily is further to the southeast and is orientated.
How long do I have to sit and listen to this drivel?
Next slide, you can see they are about the same side. But Nick, if you're looking for Gillian the Sicilian, don't look for her at Decima Manu. And please don't bomb or shoot Sicily. Finally, Captain Nick, I'm going to ask you right now to clear up that other little thing about the difference between foreplanes and canards that you mentioned in APG 582. This is Hong Kong Nigel signing off. Goodbye.
Yes, Nigel and I have had a long discussion on four planes and canards.
Have you?
Interesting. Yes, indeed. Because I think we were both led astray by a current Royal Air Force flight lieutenant who is a wonderful Typhoon pilot who gave us the Duff Gen in the first place, in that he defined a four-plane as being like a canard, but they move independently, whereas a canard is either fixed or moved together. It turns out that's if you look at all the definitions around the aviation world, that's probably not an accurate statement. So all I can say is that four planes and canards are usually interchangeable, and they're just different names for the same things. They don't necessarily have to move independently or otherwise. So there you go. If the Typhoon pilots want to call them four planes, they're free to, but they could also call them canards if they wanted to.
So basically the bottom line is don't trust Typhoon pilots with any...
No, certainly not with your wallet or your wife. Yeah, or your map. Oh, by the way, I would like to point out that when I was given the location that I'd landed in Decimomane, it was by a navigator, because that's why we had them. We had navigators in the back seat. They navigated for us. So when the bloke told me we were in Sicily, I took him at face value. There's another mistake I made.
Oh, yeah.
And I have to say, I see his little picture of the two islands overlaid. You know, if you didn't know, I mean, they look very similar. They're blobs in the sea. What do you mean? What's he
I'm gonna get him started playing the Wordle game. It's like Wordle, if you're familiar with it. But all they do is give you an outline of a country, but with like no size reference. It's actually quite challenging.
Yeah,
very. That would be very challenging. Yeah, and indeed. So anyway, and I would like to point out that Nigel had the additional technology of a moving map display wherever he went, whereas in the Phantom we had a piece of paper to look at, so it wasn't always very convenient.
Sounds like a bunch of excuses to me.
Well, I would agree. That's perfect excuses. Excellent excuses, yes.
Lame excuses.
And as for where his mic lead is, I now couldn't give a toss.
Wow.
When he first put it in there, I'm thinking, what is he talking about? What's a mic lead? And then when you said XLR cable, I went, oh, okay. Now I understand what you're saying. Yeah. Anyway, thanks, Nige.
Thanks for the feedback. Yeah,
thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Yeah, get lost.
Oh. Okay. We're going to skip to item number 10. This is from, is this also Rico? The same Rico that was ironing, I think. Yeah, Pilot Rico. Okay, cool. He says, I've attached an audio feedback on the subject of the twin Otter steering system. All the best, Pilot Rico. So here we go. Let's hear what he has to say about that.
Hello, APG crew and community. This is Pilot Rico recording from my car, halfway my commute from Rotterdam Airport towards my home. I was listening to the APG episode, the last one, where the Twin Otter accident in St. Bart's was discussed, and I thought I respond to this with some knowledge on how the nose wheel steering system actually works. First of all, it's a hydraulically actuated nose wheel steering system with a tiller on the left-hand side attached to the left-hand yoke. As Els Piloto mentioned, he said if you hit the tiller, you might knock it out of its position. I've not actually heard of incidents like this, but I can see where the story comes from. But first of all, about the steering system, it's very efficient. A Twin Otter has a very short wheelbase and a very large nose wheel deflection angle. So at low speeds, you can actually make very, very tight turns easily. it's not recommended at all to use this at high speeds because, first of all, the airplane is very well controllable with on a straight line with rudder steering, unless you have a strong tailwind, and then you can use a little bit of differential braking or a little bit of differential thrust, or maybe going to beta a little bit with your propellers to control the airplane. There's no need on a straight line to use the nose wheel steering tiller, and it's not recommended. During takeoff run, again, you do this without using the steering tiller, unless you have a very strong crosswind. You might use the steering wheel tiller a little bit to start the takeoff run, but as soon as you have gained a few knots of airspeed, you should control the airplane with rudder and with your actually just with the rudder should be enough. Then after liftoff, when the nose wheel strut extends and it's properly centered, it should catch in a centering lock, and once the centering lock is in position, the nose wheel can no longer steer. It's a simple mechanical system where the strut extends, it catches, and is locked into the center position. There's just one little problem: if it's not locked, if the nose wheel steering is not centered, it will not catch the lock. This can still be corrected, and it's done in the after takeoff checklist. You check if the nose wheel steering tiller is centered by grabbing the handle, and you move it up and down. And if you can move it, it's not centered, so you move it through the center position until it's locked into place. If you don't do this, the aerodynamic forces will gradually push the nose wheel hard over to either the left or the right hand side, which causes a lot of aerodynamic drag to start with. But you should notice it during the cruise because it's very obvious. The nose wheel steering tiller would stand straight up if it's to the right, and then it's in front of your instrument panel, or it goes down and it hits your knee when it goes to the left. So it should be obvious, but then you might still miss that. There's a third opportunity to notice it because the before landing checklist also mentions the nose wheel steering tiller, and you should check if it's locked in the center position. If you have not corrected this system by now and you touch down with the nose wheel in a hard over position, either to the left or the right, well, good luck, because there's no way you can keep the airplane centered on the runway or on the runway at all. It's just going off the runway. There's no other way around it. So this might have happened. I don't know. I didn't watch the video. I just listened to the audio feedback. The other issues that were mentioned were propeller problems. I've had some propeller problems with the Twin Otter. I've had a situation where I was in reverse and only one propeller went into reverse and the other one decided to auto feather. I was able to control the airplane fine with just rudder and maybe a little bit differential braking. It was almost a non-event. So I doubt this was an issue at all. But the nose wheel steering tiller hard over, that's very plausible in my opinion. But we'll have to find out until we hear the final report. I'm going to continue my journey back home. I hope you enjoyed the feedback. I certainly enjoy your episodes. Keep doing those, and thank you. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Pilot Rico. Great feedback, and it's so nice to get feedback from our community when we talk about things that we don't really know anything about, and our expert on the Twin Otter.
I wasn't here. I was absent.
Which is most every but Steph wasn't here, and we went ahead and probably shouldn't have, but we went ahead and covered that news item anyway. And in the video, by the way, Rico, you would not have been able to, the angle that they were showing of this thing plowing into the helicopter, there was no way to see what they did in the initial part of the touchdown part of it, but. Okay, go ahead, Steph.
Well, you can't tell. I think the nose wheel hard over is a plausible, and everything that Rico said is 100% accurate. It sounds like he's got plenty of Twin Otter time. Other stuff like this happens. You kind of go back into the books a little bit just to refresh your memory on everything as well. The only other thing I was thinking about, he mentioned that the nose wheel steering actuator through the tiller is hydraulically actuated. So one thought that was brought up to me was, what if you lose hydraulic pressure? Would that cause you to have nose wheel steering malfunction on landing? Well, if you lose the hydraulic system in flight, the nose wheel actually locks in place hydraulically in the position that was in at the time that the pressure was lost. So even if that happened, that shouldn't have been an issue. Your brakes are also hydraulic, your flaps are also hydraulic, so lots of hydraulic things happening there that are important on landing. The only other things that this kind of reminded me of a little bit, kind of going back to the hydraulic system, and that I kind of wanted to mention, these incidents with the Twin Otter are actually much more common on initial startup. It's not uncommon for the hydraulic system circuit breaker to be pulled during maintenance events sometimes, and there have been instances where people have started up the aircraft and not had any hydraulic pressure, which means they have no nose wheel steering, they have no brakes, and they've plowed into things. There have been a couple of high-profile incidents with that occurring. That shouldn't be the case on landing for all the reasons that Rico mentioned, especially at higher speeds. The rudder on the Twin Otter is huge for the size of the airplane, and you have a lot of rudder authority, even at relatively low speeds. For instance, when we're flying the Otter and we touch down, it's not uncommon you don't touch the tiller until you're at very, very low speed, until you're taxiing. The way it was taught to me when I was first getting checked out or first flying the aircraft was the tiller is for taxi. Truly, if you're not going at very low speed, don't touch it, because it will take you right off whatever surface you're on if you're trying to go at higher speeds. It's very sensitive. You have 60 degrees of steering on either side of center with the nose wheel, and it's very touchy. So a little bit of input on that tiller starts to equate to a lot of movement very quickly. And Liz, I think, was showing the picture I pulled from the manual there. Sorry, I didn't have my own picture in color, but I thought it'd be helpful for people to see what it looks like. And
I think I was taken back in 1923 or something.
The
aircraft design is not recent.
I'm trying to work out how you get your hand past the yoke to get at the tiller. I mean, if you're trying to move the yoke and the tiller at the same time, life must get very complicated.
It looks like it's just your fingertips there on the other side.
You can a little bit, but when your power levers are up high, so you have that if you're in the left seat and you're using the tiller. Your right hand is on the power controls, and you can use differential thrust to help with steering a bit, and typically all you're doing in that case is just bumping a little bit the tiller up and down. So I tend to use just kind of near not the palm of my hand, but kind of right by where my fingers are here, just to bump up or down a little bit, because it takes very little input to move a lot. And once you're lined up on the runway center line, as soon as you can get some airflow moving over the rudder, even just as you're pushing the power up, you go to rudder control to maintain center line. You're not using the tiller at all. And you can see there on the top of the yoke or the steering column, that line that they've drawn there, that's the center mark.
Okay.
So that's how you know if it's centered or not.
So I know it's just, we're not sure because we don't have really any of the facts of what actually happened here, but what's your feeling about what the most likely thing that happened?
Other incidents that have occurred, especially in situations where it's lower time Otter pilots, as I was saying, the rudder has a lot of authority, and it can be tricky in gusty crosswinds. If you're not ready to be on the rudder at touchdown and maintain centerline control. That was a thought, but I would expect that these pilots had sufficient experience, especially where they're flying.
And I don't think the winds were really that strong.
I don't think the winds
all.
were a factor. Yeah, I don't remember exactly what they were, but they were well off of off of where the runway was. So something with the nose wheel steering having gone awry sounds plausible.
Yeah,
it really
seems
does.
Like would be probably the most likely. Okay, very good. We're going to go ahead and this next item will be our last before we wrap up the show. And it was sent to us from Dominic, and it involves a gender reveal that kind of went all awry. Yeah, here we go. We're going to take a look at this. So we're watching the happy couple about to find out whether it's a boy or girl. And okay, so the ag plane, a Piper Pawnee, dropped its load of pink, dark or bright pink dyed water. So, hey, guess what? It was a girl, and everybody's screaming, and it's not because they're really happy about the revelation that it's a girl. It's because they're looking at the airplane that just dropped its load of water and has done a very, very hard pull-up, and the left wing has broken. So we'll play it again. I think the happy couple here probably are thinking everybody's just like screaming because of the gender reveal.
I don't think they noticed. I mean, you go back and they're just embracing, so they didn't.
Except for the person that did this video, he knows.
Oh yeah,
or she knows, whoever it was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Again, we'll see this. Yes, this was in Mexico. In fact, I planned to do a really fancy effect. See if I can still do it. Let's see. Let me share my screen. And probably will blow this completely because I just wasn't thinking about it until just this moment. Yeah, of course. The thing that I had it all set up on is not even loaded, the app. But it was like a Sinaloa or something like that in Sinaloa. Okay, on the main Mexican. On the continent, not Baja California, but close to the Gulf of California, and north of Mexico City, I believe. Anyway, and the other thing I wanted to do was mention that I was doing a little bit of research on this, and I was just thinking to myself that this must be something that has, that was the Google Earth thing that I was going to do there. Shoot. Man, I'm not prepared well at all. Anyway, I did a search on Google for Google Images of hoping to get some more pictures regarding the plane crash here, the Pawnee. And it was like page after page of photos of mostly ag planes, but some other GA airplanes that had crashed when they were doing a gender reveal. And so it turns out.
Really?
Yeah.
I hadn't heard of any.
I know. So here, while you two are talking about things, why don't you?
All I was really going to say about this incident was that this aircraft is doing pretty much what it does in a day-to-day work job. He's flying straight and level. He's dumping his load, of this case water, colored water, and then he's pulling up in order to reposition. If he was doing it in a traditional maneuver to reposition on a field, he pulls up, does a wing over, it comes back down again, levels off. I don't see that being a particularly unusually hard pull-up. And I see during the pull-up, his left wing just folds. The spar breaks and the wing folds. And that's it. He's doomed. The poor pilot dies. So I can see why this might be fun. I can see why an ag pilot should be capable of doing it, because it's not a particularly difficult maneuver compared with what he does all day, every day. I'm just amazed that it seems to be linked with a lot of incidents. Any ideas, Jeff?
Yeah, trying to. So here's an interest. So here's like an example of now. Of course, the first several of these is regarding the one that we just watched, the video of it. But there are some others here as well that involved ag planes. And there's a video of this one, looks like some kind of a high-wing Cessna that goes straight down into the water. I'm not sure exactly what happened there, but I was looking at some of these ag, like the Pawnee-like ag planes, and I'm thinking, oh, well, I thought that was a different color. And then sure enough, it turns out that like this one here that's yellow, plane crashes after pilot drops hundreds of gallons of whatever. So the original search that I did had several more of these things. And I went, oh, well, I guess this is not that unusual for these things. But so I will say that I think, you mentioned that that seems to be the kind of activity that it would be normal for a crop duster. Although I think what this person's doing is doing what they call an emergency dump, which is letting all of it go all at once.
Not in a controlled, gradual fashion where you're getting a big change in CG at the same time as you're.
So
that and also
caused an additional pitch up.
Yes, perhaps. It's like an additional. It's almost like power steering with the pull up. So maybe he was used to a certain amount of back pressure to, nose up the airplane and climb out, and didn't realize that dropping all 150 gallons or whatever, however many gallons of it was, would actually be additive to that. That's part of the problem. And also, we don't know. It could be that this airplane maybe wasn't well maintained, and maybe the strut, the wing spar bolts may have been corroded or something, over time.
Yeah.
Especially if it's being subjected to those kinds of repetitive stresses.
Exactly. But wow, talking about a bummer, for the people that are there for this happy occasion.
Yeah. Let's just go back to simpler times where it's just a surprise. You're having a baby.
Right. What's wrong with that? Yeah. You're at the hospital, it comes out, and you go, hey, it's a girl.
Buy some green and yellow things, and, it's all good.
Send out a nice little card to everybody, hey, it's a girl, like simpler times. You're right.
What sex do you need for a green-yellow thing?
So any. That was the point. Could be all the sexes.
What do you mean?
I'm confused.
I don't know what Nick's
I don't want to
really
get into gender identity here, but we're talking about a baby who has no concept. We're just
right. Buy it whatever color you want. It doesn't matter.
Well, okay.
But what's the green yellow? Right. I don't get that.
Well, neither do I.
No, so maybe this was more my generation thing, but people are like, oh, if I don't know what gender baby you're having, I don't know what type of, clothes or outfits to just something that's could be used by anybody.
I think this is a potential quicksand here, Jeff.
I'll stop.
We should probably back out of this.
Anyway, I don't know. Probably
well, obviously, Man Micah has the answer to the green and yellow thing because obviously, no, it's a boy because they combine to make blue, right?
Oh.
Anyway, my comment was not meant to be anything other than it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and Tim Van Ram, it's a frog. Yeah. That's Tim Van Ram for you right there.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
All right. Okay, we're going to wrap it up because it's just rapidly going downhill.
Degenerating.
Yes, it is very much so. Okay. Yeah, and Nick needs to get to bed. It's late over there.
To eat. Yeah, it's late for me too. It's my bedtime.
Yeah, it's almost my bedtime. Okay. So with that, we're going to point you over to our website, airlinepilotguy.com. Lots of good stuff there. You can find out about the crew and the community and so much more. Again, that's airlinepilotguy.com. And we also are on the social medias.
Head on over to Facebook, facebook.com/airlinepilotguy. Also on Twitter, X. I feel like I'm all screwed up now on my...
Twixter.
Over to Twixter. I don't know. You know what it is. If you've been there, for years and years, it's still the same kind of platform. We're still at APG Crew, and we still have our individual handles pinned to the top of that page, as far as I know. You can also check out all of Nick's wonderful, lovely artwork on Instagram, where we are also APG Crew. For some in-depth community shenanigans, I would point you over towards Slack, and hopefully Hillel is in his usual post-show location.
I guess we're going to have to find out. I do hear more and more water running in my apartment.
Yeah, what are your water bills like?
Pretty high. Hillel?
Yeah.
Can you do the Slack thing? Okay, from there? Okay, let me turn your mic up.
APG listeners, please join us on our Slack team. Slack is a communication, coordination, and sharing platform that works on your mobile, laptop, or browser. On Slack, we share news and ideas, we suggest episode and plain tales topics, we plan events and meetups. To get into the Slack team, please email me at slack@airlinepilotguy.com. That's SLACK Sierra Lima Alpha Charlie Kilo @airlinepilotguy.com, or send me a tweet with your preferred email address to @Hillel, and I'll send you an invitation. That's Hillel, spelled Hotel India 11 Echo 1, and see you in Slack.
Thanks a lot, Hillel. He gets excited over the littlest things, you know?
You mean
That's
he's
awesome.
stealing your soap and thinks it's
Yeah,
free?
but I stole the soap from all these different hotels over the years. So it's
so
okay.
you're the thief.
I am, I think. Also, you'll have to, if you're watching the video, right above Steph's, let's see, left
ear.
Shoulder is a QR code. And Liz, if you can put up the big one that we have in the slides. Here we go. Okay, made a QR code for those of you who are into this kind of technology, and you can just point your phone at it, and it will automatically open up your email program and have it already addressed to feedback@airlinepilotguy.com. So that's another way to send us some feedback if you'd like. And if you want to attach some audio to that, that's perfectly fine. In fact, we'd prefer that. That's a great way. We love hearing your voices. So again, that's just a little extra thing there to help you out. Send us some feedback by scanning that QR code. Let us know if that works for you. Yeah. Don't you send us feedback, Nick. We already,
Really?
Although
I'm sure
It
Liz
comes
would like
up,
a
it
bit
says-
extra.
What does it say for you, Liz?
Said-
I mean, from Steph.
Jeff Nielsen. And then it took me to my email.
Jeff Nielsen.
Uh-huh.
Because the address that's associated with feedback says Jeff Nielsen?
I don't know. That's what it said when I went to click on the,
Oh.
when you do the QR code thing,
Yeah.
and you go to click on it, it said your name.
Oh, well, I don't know how that happened. I didn't set it up to do that.
Maybe because you're the creator.
No, mine
Yeah.
says feedback.
Okay.
Yeah, mine went to
Well, the
feedback.
email does, but I'll send you a screenshot.
Yeah, show me what it does there. I didn't do that when I tested it out. But anyway, just having fun with technology. And yeah, so thanks again, Steph, for joining us. Again, we missed you. It was nice having Rick with us. Unfortunately, Camacho couldn't make it this week because he's very busy with his work and family and all the other stuff that he's doing in his life. And but we're glad that all of you were able to make it in our live audience. We do appreciate it so much. And of course, we'd also like to a big shout out, a big thank you to Liz, our producer.
Well done, Liz. Thank you very
My
much.
pleasure.
Lots of work in the background, and always nice to have you there, guiding us through all the troubled waters. And with that, we're going to go ahead and end it for this week's episode. Hope to see you next week, and wishing you all clear skies and limited visibility and tailwinds. Talons, Douglas.
Cheers, y'all.
Bye, everybody.
See you next time.
And as Nigel said, bye.
Bye.
I'm not saying bye. I'm not talking to him anymore.
Yeah,
Say
you
bye to
gotta-
him for good.
You got a right ticking
Yeah,
off.
right. Yeah.
Turn off your recorder, Jeff.
Okay.
Okay, so Tim Van Ram has some titles here. I've got a couple of suggestions, but Tim's are Fly Wooden Shoe Airlines,
Uh-huh.
All right.
Adults Only. Oh, Wooden Shoe Airlines, Adults Only, I guess. That's all one title. That's a long title. cardboard pilots,
Okay.
and revealing genders. Now, mine are 2 blobs in the sea.
Okay. That's a
What
quote
was that
from
one
Captain
about?
Nick. That's what you said.
That's what you said. 2
Sardinia
blobs
and
Yeah,
Sicily are just
Sicily
two
are just
blobs in the
blobs in
sea.
the sea. And my other one is clogged cabins. Clogged cabin.
Clogged
Clogged
cabins.
cabins.
Oh, that's kind of cute. I do like the clog thing. I mean, that the picture in my head of the
Yeah.
kid wearing clogs pushing up
No,
against
we're not
the
going with that one, Micah. Sorry. Forget it. We're not.
of the back of the seat in front of them. That's got to be part of the
Whacking
image.
the
Just
with
the
wooden
kid
clogs.
with the wooden clog pushing against the seat. in
Well,
front of him.
I quite like Micah's all-you-can-eat Jimmy Buffett, but probably a bit tasteless.
I think
that
that's
buffet,
a little bit tasteless myself.
that buffet.
Yeah, it's
I
too
quite
soon.
like Jeff's Loser Cruiser. I thought that was a good one.
Yeah.
Ironing Man contest.
Well,
And
there's just
what
been
do
the
you reckon
burning
on?
man, there's just been the Burning Man out there in the desert. Now we got the Ironing Man. So
Ironing Man
Indeed.
contest. Yeah.
Crap pilot doesn't listen carefully. Wouldn't. Yeah. But yeah.
Well, yeah. People would say, "Oh, look, here's an aviation podcast, and it's the topic is CPDLC." Suckers.
Jokes on them.
There you go. Exactly.
Like
that would
it.
be a good lure. That
Okay,
one. I
go
quite
for
like
it.
that one.
Although
Okay,
I
everybody.
still
plenty
like
to
the
work
I still
with.
like the clogged cabin though. I think that's very cute, Liz.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, I'm not sure how well that's going to work in a picture.
Okay.
I tell you, just like the leg of a kid wearing a
was
big
an
giant
old woman who
clog
lived in a shoe.
giant wooden
and
shoe.
pushing up against the
There's like a
pushing up
nursery
against the
rhyme
seat
about it.
back.
Yeah. Anyway.
No, I don't like the nursery rhyme. I want the picture of the kid putting his legs up on the seat in front of him,
Exactly.
pushing on it with big giant clogs.
Jeff doesn't make requests very often, so I feel like this needs to be honored.
I mean, as soon as he said that, I had that picture in my head.
Nick doesn't look impressed. He does
Yeah, well, Nick, you can do whatever you want.
Don't worry, I will.
As long as I don't have to do it, I don't care. You can have a picture of, I don't know.
I might do options.
Whatever you want.
Depends how much spare time I got tomorrow.
Okay,
By the way, I've
everybody.
got a
Thanks for
plain
joining
towel.
us.
Oh yeah. Bye, everyone.
See you next time.
Go away.
Bye. Bye.
Bye, bye, Trevor.